lost, and he was waiting for a lung transplant. And while he was waiting for this lung transplant, he was being kept alive on an ECMO circuit. ECMO is acronym for extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, and this fancy word for like heart-lung machine. And in his case, his heart was okay, but his lungs had failed, so this was keeping him alive. And after a while on the transplant list, he was diagnosed with a complication that made him no longer a priority recipient for donor lungs, and so they took him off the transplant list. And so this article is kind of about the ethical dilemmas of like, what do we do with him?
But he's alive.
Because he's like playing video games, he's doing homework, hanging out with friends. If we turn off the circuit, he will immediately die.
Well, don't do that then.
On the other hand, he's consuming a $500,000 a month ICU suite. And so there are these quotes in this article from the doctors being like, his family and friends derive benefits from his continued survival, and how this raised fairness questions, because if we like support him for a longer period of time, then why don't we do this for everybody? And so I saw this, and I'm like, those are great questions. I need answers to those questions. Is there seemed to be this big gap between what was technically possible and what was economic to deploy for some reason.
And that's exactly what being a founder is about.
Yeah, so I saw this, and there's this database of medical literature called PubMed, and I realized that if I searched PubMed for the phrase ECMO ethical dilemma, there were multiple pages of results. So this was not like a one-off. And when I looked at this literature, it was often, a lot of it was talking about how ECMO shouldn't be used as a quote, bridge to nowhere, and how many doctors were basically trying to discourage families from like even pursuing it in these critical care cases, because it would create this bridge to nowhere, and then like, what do we do? And it creates these dilemmas. And then I went and asked some doc. This was a long time ago. This was almost a decade ago now. Like, oh, well, like, why don't we consider it as a destination? Like, the phrase is like a destination therapy versus a bridge therapy.
Yeah. What if the technology just isn't good enough yet, and it needs to be improved?
It needs to be improved, definitely. But that wasn't even the response that I got. The response that I got was just like shouting and throwing things. And so I was like, something feels wrong here. But I wasn't really in a position then to pursue it. But this was always a thing that was kind of, I saw that there was a really important unification here. It also, the same fundamental type of technology has really transformed organ transplantation. So there they call it NMP, normothermic machine perfusion, rather than ECMO, but it's the same idea. So 20 years ago, if you needed a kidney transplant or liver, if the car crash happened at 3 a.m, the surgery would happen at 4 or 5 a.m. But now it gets scheduled for like the afternoon or the next day. And over 75% of liver transplants in the US use this type of perfusion technology now. But like the systems that exist for this are like $500,000. They can only be moved by private jet. Like one of the big companies in the space, it turns out that their like private jet logistics business is bigger than their medical device business. And it just like, there was just like clearly an engineering that could refine this. And so we looked at this and we thought like, well, what if you could refine this to the point where you could check a kidney as luggage on a United flight to the East Coast? Or what if you could make a thing that 17-year-old could have brought home as a backpack? Instead of just what they did in his case is they stopped changing the oxygenator filter, and a week later it clotted and he died. And that's what happened. There are other problems here, like being able to close the skin around the brain implant. You also need to make it so that the tubes that connect the blood supply to the circuit, the skin can heal to it, so that's not an infection risk. Otherwise you have to clean it very carefully. But just overall, there's this huge gap between like clearly like where the scientific breakthroughs like were pointing and like what was being done. Like I think that people don't appreciate is that in many cases, like there's like if you want to get about like this basically already exists.
What?
Like,
is it a picture? No, it's just a bug because I can't. I'm streaming using OBS, but like I can't use the same camera on my computer twice. So I have to put like the window, and it freezes at times. So it's not meant to be a picture. It's just freezing. And OBS is not working on this thing. Oh.
Alive in ICU almost indefinitely, but this is very poor quality of life, and so patients like ask for that to be withdrawn. Like nobody wants to be basically like a brain.
It is freezing. It's freezing.
You need to be.
I'm streaming on YouTube as well, but you know if there used to be a way where you can use it doesn't let me. Let me ask Google how to use OBS with TikTok Live Studio. Virtual camera not working.
Able to provide a high quality of life, and so you need something that people can like live with. And I think to see this, like if you can get vision, hearing, balance, motor control, the ability to like be out in the world and doing things, I just saw this like very fundamental way to reframe the problems of medicine here. And so that, like I said, like at Science, even though there's several different projects, I really see them as one project over the next 10 years.
So
capture card. As a capture card, let me see if I can do it. No, it doesn't work. Not available. Yeah, it's because TikTok Live Studio is annoying. Like you can't easily add OBS. I'm using OBS. I'm streaming on YouTube too, but I think TikTok will have more traffic. So I think every time I close the OBS, it freezes, which is probably why it's freezing. There is a ZV-1 camera here though. It's yeah, but hopefully it's working now.
So, you know, started as an engineer, first principles thinking, which often now is quite associated with Elon Musk. How did Neuralink start? How did you get to know him? And how did all of this sort of come together? Because I first met you when you were doing Y Combinator many years ago, my first stint at YC.
So I got an email one night in early 2016 from Sam.
Yeah.
Something kind of crazy.
I'm using a window right now, so
From a
hopefully
computer interface company, like
hopefully
computer
it's
company.
seeable. I don't think this
And
is
I think
very
they're talking to
interesting
a lot of
content,
people.
but
And my first rep.
okay. I'm gonna do a battle. I bought a controller. I think like this controller looks like it's made for women, but it works. It's only like 14 pounds. It's like a purple controller. Oh, it's very clear. Maybe you can see it. It's a very I don't really love this color, but it was the cheapest one. I think like women would prefer like this color.
Reaction was actually I had some friends at MIT that I thought, I'm like, well, these are really smart, you shouldn't talk to them. But then like an hour later, I was like, wait a second. And so I emailed it back. I'm like, can I like
Oh my god.
and introduce me to Elon? And Elon was going around. He already had the idea.
It's definitely a woman's color. Maybe I can gift it to someone.
And over the second half of 2016, there was just this.
I definitely think girls suit this color better.
That would meet once a week or so in the evening.
Get some more
And
water.
snowballed into Neuralink. And of the initial group, a bunch of them were people that I knew from Duke. So Tim Hansen, the guy who originally had the sewing machine idea, he was in the lab that I came from at Duke. He was a grad student. I was an undergrad working for him. And then the professor that he and some of our other friends had been at UCSF. And then a collaborator there. So it was kind of a very small community.
What was that like initially to talk about the idea of like, you know, connecting a canoe human being's brain?
Elon, he saw what was coming in AI like very much more clearly than many other people much earlier, and I think the implications of like that you gotta this can't be a separate thing from humanity and that needs to merge somehow. I think that implication was just very clear to him, and so that was the genuine motivating factor of like how do we make it so that this allows us to upgrade humanity rather than get left behind. I mean, if you look at the natural history of Earth, it's not like this is a totally
Still
speculative
doesn't
thing.
work.
Humanity has totally dominated the planet, and we keep our closest living relatives in glass boxes so they don't go extinct. And so there's a real history here of greater intelligence being very dangerous.
Gudra.
Like in the beginning, there wasn't like a specific technical idea necessarily, but there was that motivating force. And then the idea was we'd pull together like the smartest group of people that you could find and enough resources to do whatever made sense. And eventually got consensus around what you see now as the thin film polymer threads.
You're one of the best examples of someone who came from a pure software world and then went into hard tech and now is actually doing real breakthrough type of research and work that is also commercializable. The people watching, they might be on a similar track. Knowing what you know now, like, what would you tell to the sort of 2016?
Okay, I'll just use
So I think there's two things.
Ninetales.
First is like the thing that we did, and then there's the thing I didn't do.
Ninetales. Purple's my color. I don't think purple. No, as a guy, I revolt against seeing this. Oh, is it freeze? No, it's not frozen. This is the wrong one. Yeah, as a dude, it's not my favorite color. Okay, let's go. Let's go. There's no other. The other ones were like £2 more expensive. But I tried this with a controller. It does make it way easier than Let's go. Let's go. Score! Okay. Boosh, boosh, boosh. Okay. they have a costume for that specific thing. Wong of Gold.
The thing that I did, I think I had a clear sense of what I wanted, and I was very high agency towards that. When I was in college, I knew that I wanted to work in brain-computer interfaces. There was a great lab that was doing that work at Duke where I went, and I was pretty persistent in figuring out how to place myself into that lab. It was in a medical center. They didn't usually take undergrad. It took me a little while to get in there. I eventually figured out that I could sneak in by taking an independent study in the chemistry department that would be a backdoor into this primate neuroscience group. But then really most of my education in college happened in that lab. So yeah, I grew up programming, and my deepest hard skill is software, but I've been doing primate brain-computer interface, closed loop neural decoding stuff since 2008. And so that was just you had to be pretty high agency and persistent in trying to follow through on that, but that only works if you have a sense of where you want to go. And so the first is figure out what you want. The thing I didn't do was so after college I started a company called Transcriptic. That was there's a robotic cloud laboratory. So the idea was, also in college had the experience of working in a synthetic biology group where I needed to go press a button on a device called a plate reader every 3 hours for 3 days to take a measurement that I wanted. And I was like, in software, we wouldn't do this. This just clearly doesn't make sense. We would automate it. This was also the time when AWS was just emerging and cloud computing was becoming a thing. And it seemed very obvious to me that instead of every researcher having their own lab and spending millions of dollars for other equipment and needing to press these buttons, what we should build is a central robotic cloud laboratory that expose APIs that scientists can use to run experiments.
Preview one.
That raised a bunch of money when I stepped down as CEO in 20.
Retreat is telling us to retreat, man.
I had millions of dollars in revenue. I felt like we got it to kind of an early promising point. And then since then, over the last decade, that promise was not fulfilled. That was hard though. That was a slog. That era from 2012 to 2016, I strongly identify with that Boris's essay to struggle. And I think the thing that I should have done was to work for somebody like Elon, because that's just so dramatically leveled up.
My team members are really shit.
How the game is played. And,
my team members really suck, man.
Promising kids who are just I'm going to do it myself. I don't want to work for anybody else. I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to plow through. And sometimes that works. Who am I to say? But I can tell you that very often, running a startup is an oral tradition. There have been a couple of nucleating times in history where a really remarkable group of people have kind of figured it out from scratch. They think PayPal was like this, but almost always beyond that, it's an oral tradition that you pass down from one of this handful of Silicon Valley cultures that can make a huge difference on the trajectory of your career. Get that right when you're 20 versus when you're 26 or 28.
Well, science is the next, and it sounds like you're assembling. You've already assembled a really accomplished crew of people, and then what we've learned from startups over the years is that when something works, more and more resources, more and more smart people sort of come together, and then zooming out, that's what we really hope happens a whole lot more in exactly the spaces that you're in.
Multiplayer, yeah.
So, science sounds like
you can play with other people too.
Yeah, I definitely feel pretty lucky that I get to do that.
You could actually play with me, but I think you're not a Pokemon fan. But it's like oh damn, we still lost.
Things that you can do.
Look, I got 86 points, and all my team members just suck.
So, the next 10, 20 years of science, BCI, I guess, where do you see this going? And what are you most excited about?
I have this event horizon at 2035 now. When I was earlier in my life, I always kind of prided myself on the ability to see the future. And
it's not that addictive. Pokemon Go is more addictive, but you could actually play it. I could actually play against with other people on this. This one I can actually turn off after a while.
Earth as a whole is at a not unique. This moments in history have happened all the time before, but right now it's a kind of exceptional change. This is going to be really influenced by the technological changes that are happening, and the twin plot lines of brain-computer interfaces and artificial intelligence. People are beginning to get that artificial intelligence is real. It's still not priced in. People still don't appreciate it. I agree. But they really don't get what's coming in and what's possible with brain-computer interfaces, and those are really parallel but very distinct stories. Intelligence is going to become widely available for those that have the agency to deploy it. And I am generally pretty optimistic about that. My PDOOM is pretty, it's not zero, but it's not 50%, it's well below that. Yeah, I don't know if we'll have cured all disease. In fact, I definitely wouldn't use that term. I wouldn't say we'll have cured all diseases by 2035, but I think that there will be kind of new lateral options that totally reframe how we think about the human condition on that timescale.
And totally reconfiguring basically that sort of interface between computers and humans. It's
Yeah, and humans and each other. Yeah, a brain computer.
Oh really? You okay? You could actually play with me on here. It's actually quite. It's not the most fun game, but it's fun because you can play with people. It's not a solo game. Oh, this one I've already used before. Charizard and Sableye. I think I'll go with this one. Not Charizard.
What we're going to talk about
Zoroark.
is how my company.
Zoroark. Let's go.
Welcome back to another Pokemon Market Monday, home of the OG weekly market updates, where every Monday morning we go through last week's sales of sealed Pokemon products and Pokemon cards that are currently go.
Turn this off, man.
Looking back in hindsight, it's
No, it's I'm playing it on the PC, but you can. It's actually a mobile game. I'm just using the emulator on the PC.
tension. You feel invincible and like, oh, I can do anything and whatever. And it took me a long time.
So it's actually a mobile. Well, it's a mobile and Switch game, but I put an Android emulator on my PC, so I can play it on the PC. So I can use this controller. But normally you just play with your phone. The problem with the phone is that like the phone buttons kind of hurt my hands after a while, so I'm not. But anyway, like you can play on the Android.
Disney Princess. I take everything.
You can actually find it in the Google Play Store.
So when I went into boxing, it was no different. I have two main goals: definitely becoming world champion, and I want to exit a company for $1 billion.
I feel like in terms of upping the stakes with boxing, you ever gonna fight Logan?
I haven't really announced it yet, but
Jake, thank you so much for coming on the Ice Coffee Hour. Really, really appreciate it.
of course, yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So I'm curious, what was your first big paycheck that made you realize that you made it?
That's good. Well, honestly, the one that comes to mind is I made like $400 when I was 16 off of a Vine post. They like paid me $400 for this app to promote this game. It was called like Bubble Jump or something, and to me, $400 for like making a 6-second.
What
video,
is
I thought I was
Illusion?
the richest person ever. Went right to the mall.
Oh, you can do that? Oh, that's really cool.
Edition shoes. And then
That's really cool. You can change
I
form.
didn't have any money after that. I was
big
zero.
watch.
Yeah, it was.
The bigger the watch, the more expensive it is.
It was like this Diesel. I don't know if you know this brand Diesel.
Yeah,
They had
and
big,
Mall, right?
Yeah, the mall. And I was like, dude, I'm balling. But that was like the first one where I was like, I can't believe I just made, because I was landscaping for $10 an hour, you know, and only on the weekends or something. Like, so I could only get like 2 jobs in and make like $100 whatever. But this was definitely memorable. And I would say
It's called Pokemon Unite. You can try playing with me actually,
after I started selling merch while I was daily vlogging,
because you can team battle in this.
first month I sold merch, I made like 400,000 or something, and I just couldn't believe it after that.
How did that compare to YouTube ad revenue at the time?
It was exponentially bigger. I think my channel never had a good CPM just because I was doing crazy stuff, and so I think they limited the ads that were being run on my channel. I think
Oh
the
damn.
most I ever made in a month off of YouTube was 400,000, but I was getting 400 million views in a month, so it's like a $1 CPM basically.
Hey, you're extremely competitive, I've noticed. Do you think that's something you're born with, or were you raised that way?
I think there's a little bit of nature and a little bit of nurture for sure in that. I mean, definitely my mom is super competitive, and watching her and her family, they were, you know, all athletes. My great grandpa was an NFL quarterback, and it's funny, I was like going to fight Mike Tyson. They bring us to the locker room. He played for the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm like looking around the locker room, and I forgot that he played for the Cowboys, and I see my great grandpa on the locker room, like right.
Pokemon Unite. Yeah, it's fairly fun. It's not that addictive to be honest. You can definitely
I think
Pokemon Go is too addictive, but this is
was playing tennis really rubbed off on me, and then having an older brother that you're always beefing with, and oh, I'm doing this better, I'm doing that better. My dad was always pushing us in football, but I also do feel in my soul that the way I was born, whatever I am, whoever I was, my soul is, I think, wanted to achieve more and do big things. So I think there's a little bit of both in nature and nurture.
You've been vocal about humble beginnings, being raised in a split household. What would you say are some of the positive and negative things that you learned from each parent that you still use today?
Yeah, I mean, the positive from my dad, first off, is hard work. He still works incredibly hard. It's just who he is, and he genuinely enjoys it. and he instilled that in me and my brother. We genuinely enjoy hard work, which I think is very rare. I love completing the tasks. I love having a big task in front of me. It started with, cleaning out a hoarder's house, roofing, odd jobs, landscaping, painting houses, just helping our dad do his like blue collar work, and we just loved the process of it, and it was very rewarding to complete a task. And then I would say my mom she was a nurse for 30-40 years, and she's very caring and giving and empathetic and loves helping people. So I would say that is something that I learned from her, and I love just being there for my friends, my fiance, whatever it is. I would say those are probably the two positive traits, and then I guess you asked about the negatives. I mean, I would say my dad was in the army, and so he has that like militant style of parenting, and I would say that comes into my life where like I sometimes forget to smell the flowers and enjoy life. Like everything's like next task, get this done, work. And I think that can like take emotions out of your life, and like you're just a human doing and not a human being. And so I think that is something that I've had to shed, and to not be I treat myself like in that militant manner, which has brought a ton of success, but I think also it can void emotion sometimes. So I've had to like shed that skin and just myself
KO. 2v1 is fucking annoying, man.
Sometimes I notice if I'm like tired and hungry, I'll
On this one.
yelling. I'm like, bro, I can't do that. But it's my default settings, and so and by the way, so to be a CEO, entrepreneur, have multiple businesses, you kind of have to have that not care to hurt people's feelings side, but there is a better way to go about it. I mean, you kind of do have to. It's a fine line. Like, how do you be the leader, keep everyone intact, but still be nice? It's a hard tightrope to walk.
How do you learn those skills? Is it just trial and error?
I think trial and error. I'm still learning, and I'm young too, so it's like having to figure that out, and just just feeling it within yourself, like, dang, was I too mean? Was I too this? Whatever. And then also seeing how people respond. But definitely just years and years of experience is really, really the only way. And it's definitely hard sometimes, because I also care. I'm friends with a lot of the people I work with, like best friends, family. It's really a family at this point, so it's kind of hard to play both sides sometimes. Like everything's mixed into one, because we just are always together, training, filming, traveling, all of these things.
Who do you go to for advice outside of your family?
I don't have somebody. I thought about this the other day. I've never had like a mentor. I don't know. I just don't like to ask for help.
Do you watch YouTube videos? How do you learn about like what to do if you're stuck at a crossroad in business?
I guess I've just done it myself and like figured it out. I do have, my business partner and manager Nikisa, and then also I would say my business partner and my fund Jeff Wu. Those are two of the smartest people I know, and so I guess I do have those conversations with them, but I've never had like some sort of.
I think there's a friend invitation code I can give you if you download it. Let me find it afterwards.
I'm the best person to talk to. This new age of digital marketing, social media, content, creativity, building businesses, promoting boxing, selling fights, like all of this whole world is still like the Wild West. So I don't know.
You definitely managed pretty much any platform you decided to go on, like really mastered it. Even on Vine, what was the first Vine you did that really blew up, and then what made you want to continue growing it?
Yeah, I think me and my brother had a YouTube channel, and so we just filmed videos.
I'll give you a
We
code.
loved it, enjoyed it. Did it
I think
for
you get
a little
special
bit before
items.
Vine came out, and so naturally I just started making Vines because I enjoyed video editing and creating and coming up with the ideas and all of that stuff. And then the first video if you remember on Vine, you had to touch the screen to record, and so we used the assisted touch bubble thing.
Not a potion instead.
And made it seem like the phone dropped down the stairs.
Okay,
but
playing
then
with
we were
Espeon.
the ones to catch it. So we were like, how did you record this without touching the screen? And that's what made it go viral. And then we got a little bit of taste of like the quality or the level of video had to be for it to go
I'll
viral.
find the code
Kind of
afterwards.
unlocked,
Yeah.
okay, we need to go harder. We need to try more of this. But I think Logan gained like 6,000 followers. I gained like 3,000. And we were like, dude, we're famous. Like, this is it. Like, we're the coolest people in the world. At first, everyone loved it. Like, my high school was supportive of it. until it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then like that's when the jealousy of the peers came in. But I think we realized we were good at it, and then it was fun, and then we went viral. So it was like our first time going viral, and that was like a dopamine rush, and we were like, this is really cool, we can keep on doing this, and really just never stopped since that day.
How did the jealousy portray itself? Like, when did you start noticing?
Oh man, dude, it was crazy. Like, people were tweeting all the time, just talking, saying things about me, saying my videos are cringe. There was like this anonymous account that would just go off on me every single day. And you know, in high school, if you get like 1 or 2 favorites on a tweet, that's like normal. Anytime someone would tweet about me, it would get like 30, 40, 50 favorites. Some of them would get like 100. So the whole school was like turning against me. These girls like made another fake account about me, and in person people were like saying, and then just like ostracizing me, Facebook pages, like all sorts of, and it got to a point where like I showed my mom one of the tweets from like someone I thought was my friend, and she like called up their mom and was like, what the is wrong with your kid? Like, we go to lunches together. Like, she was friends with the mom, and like these kids were just ripping me apart, which, you know, like I
Damn it, man, 3v1.
Weird to go through, especially because at first
My
they were
teammates
supportive,
suck
wanted to see
again.
the video,
Shitty
and it just turned
teammates.
into This whole like Jake Paul train, essentially, and
How does it change your mindset, like being a teenager and having to go through that? I feel like you would either shut down or you would like be discouraged from trying more, or that might hold you back.
it made me like want to go harder. And once people found out I was going to LA, I remember one kid said to me, he was like, "You're never gonna make it in LA. Like, you're gonna go there, try to be like auditioning, and then you're gonna end up back here." And I was like, what does that say about you? Like, you're already just back here. So like, why can't I like go, even if I go and try and fail, we're gonna be ending up in the same spot. And also my teachers were a part of it, which is why I have beef with teachers. But my principal was ganged up against me. He was like trying to get me to not film Vines anymore and like delete my account, and he hated me and was trying to like figure out ways to suspend me. My teachers would like gang up on me and talk and basically like torment me and say that like I'm never gonna do anything with this career, that I shouldn't drop out, and what is it that you're doing. And
Who are your biggest believers though? Who was on your side, like rooting for you? Was a single teacher on your side, like
not a single teacher, no. My parents were on my side. Logan was on my side, and Logan was experiencing the same at Ohio University. So the frats wouldn't let him into parties. Like, he was going through the same thing, so at least we could like relate in that sense. And I had about 7 to 8 friends in high school that were still on my side, that like helped me film all my videos. So shout out to those people. But it was like us against the rest of the school. Like, we would sit at a table and we basically like created our own squad. But it is pretty bizarre, you know, like thinking back. Like, I think mostly for the teachers. I understand the kids hating and being jealous, and they're just my age. They're not emotional.
I single-handedly took on like
They're happy.
4
But I
people,
think
man.
that's why I
Fucking hell.
just don't understand.
Just crappy teammates.
Teachers trying to block a kid's dream and ripping them down and all this stuff. But that whole school is just a show of a school, to be honest. Like, it's crazy it's happened there. So
how important was your competitive nature with your brother at the time? Would you say that was one of the main things that kind of kept you and kept him going?
And really quick, before we go into that, I just want to say, if it hasn't been edited so far, short-form content has been one of the biggest drivers of growth for the Iced Coffee Hour. After every episode, like this one with Jake Paul, we take the best moments and turn them
Fucking
into
hell,
clips for
man.
YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. But let's be honest, it takes a lot of time to do it correctly. That's why
Espion is really strong in this game.
Opus Clip isn't just a clipping tool anymore, though. It's a full AI-powered video editor built for creators. It can automatically find your long-form YouTube videos, find the best moments, add captions, B-roll, and even skip.
My teammates suck in this game.
Visual clips to post while you're away. It's like having an entire editing team, but powered by AI. Top creators like Mark Rober, Jubilee, and Darman are already using it, and we use it too. I mean, see this clip that Togi's reacting to? It was made with Opus Clip.
Right now, they're celebrating the 2-year anniversary with a huge giveaway. They're handing out a $5,000 cash prize, exclusive swag, and even a MacBook Pro.
Espion is super fucking strong in this game. I might have to get. I don't actually have Espion in this roster. Oh, we won. Look at that MVP, man. I scored 84 points. Okay. Let me, where do you find my friend invitation code? Let me find them. Where is it? Where to find friend invitation code for Pokemon Unite? Going to the events page. Events page. Okay. Lucky Ice Bomb special gift. Exchange center. Exchange center. I do not see it. Daily events. Oh, invite a friend campaign. There we go. This is the code. If anyone wants to play it, that's the code. Let me share it. You can invite friends to earn rewards. Oh, you can invite friends to earn rewards. You can use a friend's invite code to receive rewards. Yeah, that's the code. I have to put it somewhere. Where do I copy it to? I'll send it to you on what's it called? Instagram. Where's your account? Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, you just have to enter that. I think you get like I entered a code of someone random to get a reward, but you get like a special box or something. You get like a I think you get one of these costumes that they give you, and you get one box thing. But it's not like it's not like a huge. It's not like you're getting money. But anyway, there's an event on right now where you can get Zapdos. I still haven't got it, but like
All you gotta do is head to opus.pro/clip-the-future right now to learn more and enter the contest. Again, that is opus.pro/clip-the-future. We also have a link down below in the description. You can just click it there. So worth it, guys. I highly recommend it. Thank you so much to Opus Clip for sponsoring this episode.
I would say we didn't really become competitive until I was like 19.
okay, yeah. It's I think where you enter it is an area called daily events. Then you find it, then you enter the code there. I think it's not like you're getting money, but you get like you get like a box. I can't remember what you get, but you get something.
Around when we both started
Let me look at it.
was when the
Pokemon Unite. It's not the most addictive game, so I could actually recommend this game, but it's not. It's like semi-fun. Like it's not the best game, but it's not the worst game either.
whole ecosystem. We were getting older.
Yeah, Espeon's pretty strong in this game. I don't have Espeon normally. I'm using using a what's it called? It's called like a furry match. It's a new event. It's a new battle event. I think it's called Full Furry Battle in Stadium. You can't. I don't know if you can see it, but you can. It gives you Pokemon that you don't actually have. So in this game, like if you don't have the Pokemon, you have to buy it using like something called oh, Glaceon's also very good. Let's see what else will you get. Glaceon, Azumarill. I'll use Glaceon.
And there was something really cool about it still feeling new, in a sense. When did you
Oh, that's such a cute. Oh, is that? Such a cute. It freezes sometimes because I forget because I close my It has like a skirt to it, and obviously I'm not a girl, but like, I think it looks actually quite good. Let me
realize that YouTube is
using Glaceon.
Yeah, man, I miss those days. That was the peak internet, man. Things kind of suck nowadays, but I think I I was super passionate about Team 10, and I think influencers and that whole world was starting to be recognized by the rest of the world, and so you could feel this energy where influencers were like kind of the new celebrities, people who have the most attention, and it felt like it was just starting to blow up then. And TikTok was kind of also starting to go crazy, or Musically it was still at the time, but you could just feel we were doing something different, something special, and no one had ever garnered the amount of views that me and my brother were getting as vloggers. And so I just knew it was this big movement. I guess just one thing led to another, you know, just going from platform to platform. Just because as a creator you had to adapt, and the new wave was to go to YouTube, it was Vine, then Facebook, then it was like Snapchat for a little bit, and then everyone started vlogging, and then that's where things were
Like, you remember that was the time when things really started to go mainstream, and then you had Bizarre Farm, like a side quest going on at the same time. Did that opportunity come from YouTube? And what was it like going from like traditional media there to a vlog channel?
Yeah, so I had been auditioning in Los Angeles basically since when I moved there. So I had agents and stuff who would send me auditions, and I got the opportunity to audition for this Disney show. It was basically a show about social media, like kind of like an iCarly spinoff. And as soon as I auditioned, they pretty much immediately loved me for it. I had to audition a couple more times, but eventually got the role, and that was always the goal moving to Los Angeles. One part of it was, okay, all these creators are in LA, we're gonna go there, collaborate with them.
His greeting is kind of funny,
More
man.
brand deals. And then the other part of it was traditional entertainment. We wanted to be actors, we wanted to do business, growing our careers in general. And so it was definitely felt like a big accomplishment to be in mainstream media on Disney Channel. I think it's one of the craziest moments of my life, and I think it validated what I was doing and why I was there. And it definitely put my career on another level. So
Was it pretty lucrative? Like, would you get paid a lot?
It's super spammy too.
we would get paid like $10,000 an episode.
Okay, well, that's not bad. Like, how long would it take for you to film an episode?
It would take 6 days and like 10, 12 hours a day.
Really?
So
So it's a week.
It's a week.
It's a week's worth of work.
Yeah.
Full time work.
Yeah, you're doing like 15 episodes in a row. I mean, yeah, it just depends how you like, you know, look at money. But like, if you're living in California and you're getting 10,000 episodes, then that's like 5,000 after taxes. And you know, so and then I'm making more money on YouTube doing brand deals and stuff. So that is part of the reason why in the long run it just didn't work out. I was spending so much time there. I didn't want to really be there anymore. And it was in multiple seasons of filming, and I didn't feel like valued or anything, and I was still making the same amount of money, and I was just kind of like, I'm making, you know, my whole season's worth of Disney Channel, like selling merch in a couple of days.
What was the real reason why you got fired from Disney?
I just started to be a little bit too much for them in terms of their image. Like, I think that every day.
Damn it, man, my Unite
was
move.
kind of the start of that. I just would.
2v1.
I needed to be on set for so long to film one scene, like I could be filming right now.
I think my teammates also suck in this game, but I think I'm up.
And I eventually realized like they need to like film my hands for some scene, and they need me to like stay there for like 6 hours so they can film my hand driving. I'm like just film someone else's hand and going home, and I just like left. So I just started to, you know, I just started to do my own thing, and it just wasn't working. I was filming kind of crazy stuff in my vlogs, and I was growing up and exploding stuff in my backyard. And, like, I just didn't fit the Disney brand. So
Did that help the ratings of the show? Like, I would imagine a lot of people find you and they're like, oh wow, he's on the Disney Channel. We want. Did that help viewership?
I don't know. I feel like it was almost two separate audiences. Because I had people come up to me now that are like 14, and they're like, I watched you on the Dark World. So I think at the time they were probably like 6 or 7. And I feel like my YouTube audience was like 15 to 25, more so. So I felt like it was kind of two different audiences.
Now, I remember on YouTube,
Oh damn,
it seemed
that
very
greeting is strong.
Like lighting a mattress on fire in the backyard or the pool, holes in the wall. Like, how much of that was calculated?
Not a lot. Like, imagine you just start on a treadmill, you know, and you're just running, and like every day, just the speed goes up like 0.1, and eventually you're just going 1,000 miles per hour, and things are just happening, and everyone's sort of in this collective energy of chaos and all this stuff. And at the time, dude, you're I'm 19, 20, making millions of dollars, getting millions of views, attention. You
Just spamming buttons, man. This game is such a spam game.
Do anything, whatever, and rightfully so. You're living in
Oh,
a
it's still lost? No way. See, that my team members just sunk. Cause I got 80 something points,
In hindsight, it's absolutely.
and they only got like fucking 50 something.
I moved to Los Angeles, made millions of dollars, started a company with creators all moved into a house, creating insane content.
Got a fucking headache, man.
So it was definitely very crazy, but you filmed the video, and then your mindset is just like, great, upload, like what's next? It was like this never-ending treadmill, essentially.
Did you have any real life consequences to the shenanigans that you got up
Go to the toilet.
Like
Damn.
neighbors, I know that was a bit of an issue, or something where there was a lawsuit and you were just like, okay, I'm done. Like I actually regret the decision there, or was it always like thinking about growth, the next video at all costs?
I mean, so much lawsuits, legal happened that I just basically like couldn't film videos anymore. I was banned from filming in LA County for 2 years, so I literally had to like Los Angeles.
For what?
They were like threatening the arson charges and stuff over me for my friend actually is the one who like lit the mattress technically in the backyard. So they were like holding these arson charges over my head to try to get me to stop filming, which is why I moved to Calabasas because that was outside of LA County. So, I mean, lawsuits, so many things, landlords suing, neighbors, I don't even remember like all the different lawsuits, but basically it sucked the fun out of everything, you know, and filming just wasn't fun anymore. I couldn't do any like of the creative ideas because I would basically have this lawyer essentially watch every video before I posted it, and we would like have to take out any little thing that people could pick apart, and so like filming just didn't.
Download complete.
Even now it's like, oh okay, cool. Like Jake Paul jumped on a news van and said, "What are those?" to the news guy. You know, like people are seriously hating me for that. And when I look at it now, it's like what people didn't realize about me, and even still to this day, I like put entertainment as number one. So if everyone can joke
Oh,
and laugh, and
so already in a lobby.
and that's where I think people have a lack of respect. And like,
I added someone to this game.
like, if you hate me, that's fine. Like,
I think they'll be a better player.
choose the route and have an opinion. I
Let's
look back
see.
and I'm like, that's hilarious.
Trevenant or Pikachu.
And that's funny.
Pikachu. I rarely play with Pikachu, to be honest.
So mad.
Who was most mad at you? Was it a certain community? Was it people's parents? Because like this guy is a bad influence on my child. Is it the local media?
I don't think it was parents. I think it was like 35-year-olds or so, and maybe older people who like didn't understand it. It's to me, it's like still
I'm
funny.
curious, what do you cut out? Like, what do you want to film that the lawyer said you can't do that?
Every day it would pretty much be like one thing that would seem like so silly, but it would come down to I would be in the car filming and like vlogging and I would call my friend, you know, to see what's going on.
I rarely ever play with Pikachu. Let's see if Pikachu's any good.
No, you can't be on call while you're driving. Like it got that serious.
Pikachu's like S tier attacker, it says.
You know, I would drive my Lambo like fast down the street. It's like, oh, you were going 70 in a 35. Like you can't put that in the video. It just became a headache to the point where I just got sick of just my whole
Oh, they got Leafeon.
life. And I was like, this isn't even fun anymore. I'm just getting sued.
Leafeon's
Everyone's so
pretty good.
sensitive. YouTube was demonetizing like half my videos because they were becoming more, you know, progressive, and all of their advertisers would be like, you can't have this, you know, so.
Do you think that was ever sustainable? Because you talk about like amping up point one like every day, and I understand that perfectly. I posted 3 videos a week, every week for like 6 years,
Yeah.
and every video I thought had to be a little better than the one prior. Because I knew it was unsustainable.
Yeah.
Like how long do you think someone, or you could push through that?
You know, I at the time, like while I was in the heat of it, I was like, this is gonna go on for years. But as it sort of went on, and I had to move and couldn't film in LA County, and the whole business of like Team 10 just didn't work out. Being like teenagers living together and filming, there's too much pride,
Damn.
emotions, parents, other managers pulling people away.
My teammates suck, man.
I knew I wouldn't be daily vlogging anymore. And that was probably about like 6 or 7 or 8 months before I stopped. But deep down, you know, like I knew I was good at YouTube, and I definitely liked it, but I knew it wasn't what
When you were making crazy money at a young age, what were you doing with it? Were you spending it, investing it? Did you have people telling you what to do with your money?
No, man. Like I had to figure it out on my own. I think a lot of it would be like put back into the videos.
I don't
You know,
ever
spending
play with
2
Big
different
Joe.
days Coming up with different things, and then obviously buying like the Team 10 mansion. But there was a point where a lot of people behind the scenes that were supposed to be good people were
Fucking shite.
money.
That
and
dude or whatever is not a good player.
ways to, like, funnel it into different areas.
Damn it.
That's just the nature of being in Los Angeles. Managers, lawyers, lawsuits, all sorts of stuff. So I pretty much spent all my money on like it was getting stolen, lawsuits, legal stuff, and then California taxes. So basically, like that was it. I mean, a couple of nice cars. And
Did you have savings at the time, or was most of it coming in and then reinvested?
Most of it was coming in and being reinvested. But man, like each lawsuit back then was probably like $1 million, maybe $1.5 million. And I was probably in like 8 lawsuits.
That seems like the lawyer
Holy
time.
shit.
No, for sure. No, they were like charging me more per hour. I can't like say the names, but there's like a firm who has stolen a bunch of money from celebrities in Los Angeles and athletes.
You
And I
know,
was
say that if I get sued.
I'm probably gonna sue them one day.
To a class action.
Yeah, because I know other people who've gotten a lot of their money stolen from them as well. It's just insane.
It's
Like,
fine to overbilling. Is that how we're doing it?
yeah, so basically you sign up to go with them, and then they hire 10 people to watch your account, and then these 10 people are getting like $50, $60, $75 an hour, and then they're saying that they're like working on it a ton.
Your team wins.
I was filming everything. I would basically wake up 8 o'clock.
Oh hell, they got fucking Mega
I was
Charizard.
filming at like 6 or 7 p.m. I would go to the gym until like 9:30.
Surrendered.
Come home, and then I was asleep at like 11. And I was just like on repeat, and so I was just like, oh, I have the best people in LA watching my money. I have the best lawyers. I have good men, and then everyone just stealing it.
When did you realize that you needed to make a change?
There was a point where I stopped YouTube, and I was like, I'm just not doing this anymore because I need something to be different, and I want to like go into a different career path or do something else. I forget what year that was. I think it was right when I like signed up to fight Deji for my first like amateur fight because I just couldn't sustain training and filming every day, and then I was also like on the tour. And I think after the tour, I like got back and was exhausted, and everyone on the tour like made money because I paid them, and I realized like, I lost like a couple $100,000 doing the tour. So I was just like, dude, like this is just a lot of work. Everyone else is like gaining from this, and I'm kind of just I'm the one taking the heat, doing the calls, being all stressed, and I was just like, dude, this like sucks. And then I like was training for the first fight against Deji, and I think it was at that point where I like, put down the camera and sort of just like started living life for the first time after filming for 2.5 years, basically.
Did you have less money than you thought you had though? Because of all like the faith and dream and money?
Oh, for sure.
And so like when did you realize, oh my god, I have way less money than I expected?
It was like around that time.
And then that was probably a big stressor among like taking these calls and the time suck and like, okay, I got it.
Yeah, I was like basically I did all this work for the past however many years for like to basically have nothing essentially. So it just was like depressing to be honest. Like I was just like, oh, this. And
Oh, I got a fucking headache. I think I need to turn it off. I'll turn it off after this one.
So I was just like, dude, this is like not what I need to be doing.
What's your advice to young people today who are coming into money like that?
I don't know why you got massive.
Live in Texas or Florida and or Vegas, and no, but you just have to be very careful
God
who you
of War.
trust. I didn't have like a good read on people. You know, I was just like a 19, 20-year-old kid from Ohio and just thought everyone was nice. Go slow, and yeah, live below your means. I mean, if you could have your family involved somehow, like people that you really trust to monitor things, I think that is helpful. And make sure you're looking at your finances, like everything that's going out, all your payables, all your receipts, all your credit card charges, all that stuff.
One thing I'm curious about, slightly off topic, but in the same vein as this, every day, bro. how much did you make from that? And you might be asking yourself, what does the future hold for business? Because if you ask 9 different experts, you're going to get 10 different answers from a bull market, a bear market. The economy is great, it's doomed. It'd be very helpful to have a crystal ball at this point. But until that happens, over 41,000 businesses have already future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one fluid platform. You see, with one unified business management suite, you have just one source of truth, giving you all of the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. Plus, with real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. So when you're closing your books in days, not weeks, you're spending way less time looking backwards and a whole lot more time on what's next. So whether your company is earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to immediate challenges and seize your biggest opportunities. And speaking of opportunity, right now you can download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning when you go to netsuite.com/iced. The guide is entirely free for you at netsuite.com/iced. The link down below in the description. Again, that is netsuite.com/iced. Thank you so much, NetSuite, for sponsoring this podcast. One thing I'm curious about, slightly off topic, but in the same vein as this, every day, bro. How much did you make from that?
Definitely probably like 2 or 3 million. It's not as much as you think.
Didn't it go platinum?
It's a platinum record.
I would expect that.
But also, you know, like I split the money up with whatever. There's like 6 people on the song or something, and then again, it has like 300 million views. But if you have like a $1 CPM, it's like 300K, 400K. Yeah, not a lot of money in music, I guess.
Were you making any money from Team 10?
I not personally. No, I actually had to like invest my own money into Team 10 to keep it afloat, just because it's not a sustainable business model. Like, okay, let's say I get whatever twins or this person or that person making $2 million a year, and then we're taking 20% of that. But then all of a sudden they're like, "What? You're taking 20%? Well, I made you famous. Like, no one knew who you were for." Oh no, like my parents think you should be getting 10%. Okay, you know what? I'm the nice guy. Sure, I'll take 10%. Okay, you made $2 million. Okay, that's 200 grand. Like, that's one, you know, executive level employee, and then for a creator to make $2 million a year consistently is like nearly impossible. So then the next year they make $1 million. Then all of a sudden, you know, it's just like,
And then they're underwater on it.
yeah, and it's just like all these things and employees and expenses and margins and merchandise, whatever it is. It's just like at the end of the day, it just wasn't sustainable.
What did you learn going from just managing yourself and treating your own social media as though it's a business to then running like a real business like Team 10 where you probably have like administrators, you have the employees, you have like the full thing?
I learned a lot. I learned people suck mostly, and no one like will work as hard for your vision as you. Working with talent is terrible. It's still a nightmare. Like till this day, it just
Wow, Carnival with spam
laziness.
is super strong.
It's just bad. So I learned that from very early on. People learn gratitude. Humans are naturally like parasitic, right? Like that's how we are in nature. It's always take more, take more, take more. So people forget where they came from, and I don't know. All of it was just kind of experience. And then I just got blamed and like made the bad guy from everything, just because you know, they all grouped together and like knew that they could make me look bad. Like once one person left, they're like, all right, well, he already has that, so like now I can snake up and say it, and everyone's gonna believe it. So it was just bad, and like if it was managed properly, and I like had a senior person and people who understood social media, but back in that time it was all still so new and no one really knew what was going on and all that stuff. But you definitely learn more from your failures and mistakes. So I think it definitely sharpened my blade in terms of just like execution, having the right team, management, working with investors, all of that stuff. I had to learn a lot about and like go through the fire. So it definitely, in the long run, it's paid off for sure.
It's interesting. Back in the day when It's Every Day Bro came out and like that whole era, I wasn't even on social media yet, so I was just like a random kid in Southern California watching, you know, YouTube. I was aware of what was going on. I think it was on the Pulse. I would see like the Paul brothers just consistently succeed and then fail, and then succeed and then publicly fail massively, and then succeed and then fail. How have you been able to, throughout your entire career, continue to be on top? It makes no, like we haven't seen a single influencer do what you guys have done.
Yeah, I guess
Damn, 2v1.
But I think you know, as Mike Tyson once said, you only lose when you quit. So the only people that can stop you is you. I truly believe that, and just the resilience and knowing who I can only speak for myself, but knowing who I was as a person, and I think I got looped into a bunch of things. Like even in hindsight, it's like, why did everyone hate Jake Paul? You know, like I look back at that and it's like, oh, he jumped on a news van. Oh, he did, or people like left Team 10. Like for me, I kind of got wrapped up into a lot of Logan's things. And
Yeah, I remember that.
He you know, did a lot. And so I kind of just got grouped into the Paul's thing because of the serious that he was getting himself into. But I think at the end of the day, man, it's like when you're doing something different, when you're succeeding, when you're being a disruptor, we are polarizing. Like I'll say my opinion, I'm loudmouth, whatever, sometimes ego, whatever, all of these things. That's gonna rub people the wrong way, and I think 50% of the people would see me jumping on the news van and be like, "That's hilarious," and then 50% of the people would be like, this kid, he's a rich douchebag. Like, how is he making this money? He's annoying, cringe. And I see both sides of it. So I get it, but at the end of the day, have that 50% of people that rock with you. Like, you can't really be stopped.
Do you think you need to be hated in order to be loved? Or do you think that you can be all one?
Hand in hand. I think for so long I tried to be the good guy and like no guys, like trust me, all those people like leaving Team 10, they're all lying, like I didn't do these things, or like whatever people were canceling me for, or whatever was going on back in the day, like no, like I'm a good guy, like but like people don't hear that.
This is so spammy, man.
It's worthless, and I had nobody to
It's fine. It's so
like,
spammy.
back me. So at some point I just embraced being the
It's actually quite fun.
being that guy, like fine, I'm gonna do it. And as soon as I did that, it was more free. All the hate pretty much stopped. because
This game is so spammy. It's actually quite fun. You can spam special attacks and normally you can't. So in this mode, you can spam an iPhone. Is really funny.
And that I was using it to my advantage. And so like people would still secretly hate and secretly say things, but it wasn't nearly as bad. And so when I embraced the villain role, there was such a big shift, and it made my life a lot better. So that was, years and years ago. But now I just I don't care about anything. Like, I'm happy. I love boxing. I love my life. And I'm just,
That is so funny, man.
there's different sides of me. Like, I can be the entertainer. We could sit here and talk about venture capital, business, all of these things. Like, whatever. There's so many different sides of me, and so certain people see different sides and they still like make a judgment. But at the end of the day, I'm just being me.
Yeah, you seem really well-rounded now. And I'm curious, I'm sure those failures were really important for the development, but what was the biggest failure and the lowest low? And then what was the main thing that pulled you out of that? Like, how did you get
There was like that point where I was just like was depressed, didn't have anything to show for all my hard work, was being sued. All my friends and people had left the house, and I was just in this like big mansion. I was just like felt so empty, and there was definitely points where I was like really hated my life, demonetized off of YouTube because of like Logan's whole scandal and just everything that could have went wrong. And I think the only thing in that moment was really like boxing came into my life, which is why I feel like I owe everything to the sport of boxing, because it gave me purpose. I had to focus on the fight. I didn't have time to like feel like a victim or look at all these bad things happening to me. I just had to win, and I was surrounded by people on the same mission, so like the team and love aspect came back in, and I like felt like I had a group of people around me. And it also like healed the relationship with my brother slowly, because instead of us fighting, it was like, no, we're on a team fighting these brothers. And all of this basically sort of like slowly brought me back to life. And so really like I think that's why I say it. Like, people hate on it, but it's like I'd be dead in jail if it wasn't for boxing.
It's so interesting because right here in our notes we had it. By your early 20s, it seems like you had it all. Millions of dollars, millions of fans, a strong legacy. Why pivot to boxing? But you're saying it was essentially the exact opposite. Like, you felt like you were lacking in all of those categories, and boxing was kind of the thing that pulled you out and that saved you.
Yeah, 100%. And I didn't feel like I was living up to my fullest potential, like being a YouTuber, running around doing these things. And I feel like I could do more or do better in life, or be respected more for my talents and my abilities. I don't think people like really saw the ingenuity behind everything that I was doing. And so I just felt like, I felt lost in all this stuff, and in boxing everything sort of started to click.
Do you think that people doubted you more as a boxer, or when you were getting into YouTube?
I think people doubted me more as a boxer, just because I had already like been successful on social media. So I don't think anyone really doubted me as like a YouTuber, but it was like, no way can this kid box and beat someone up, and like he's just like a Disney
It
princess.
seemed like you really treated it though almost like a startup. Like, you really invested heavily in yourself, trainers, diet, nutrition.
Yeah, I mean, anything I do, I try to maximize the systems to make it the most prosperous. I mean, that's what I did in YouTube. Is
Yeah, I was
I
kind
saw
of
what was working
I've never
online,
used this
which
one.
was like MagCon, all these like friend groups getting together, and that's essentially where I was like, all right, Team 10, everyone's gonna move into a house. So I would just always maximize like the best systems and create these different characters for people to follow along with, and editors, filming, storylines. I would literally like write out storylines like a reality show for YouTube, and all of these things would go behind the scenes. And I take everything I do very, very seriously and very competitive. So when I went into boxing, it was no different than YouTube. Essentially, I'm gonna have the best recovery, the best food, the best trainers. I'm gonna do it every day like I do with YouTube. And it actually brought me back to my roots of being an athlete as a kid in Ohio. So
How did you justify spending so much money on it when it was an unproven method?
well, it was less money than I was spending doing YouTube, so I was kind of like whatever. But I definitely still had a lot to learn, but I just knew that, I guess it's just the nature of a successful sport. Like, if you go into a new thing, you're just gonna go as hard as you can at it.
How did you make sure you weren't going to get ripped off? So if you do an event and you don't get paid, or like some lawyers like, oh, well, actually, you signed this contract and you owe us $50,000. How do you make sure it's profit?
Yeah, at that point in time, I think there started to become more trustworthy people around me, and I had the experience of being screwed over a bunch of times, and so I could just decipher things better. I think I got like a really good, like trustworthy lawyer at that time, so I just felt more comfortable in that, and I wasn't really focused on the money for the boxing match. It was more like, I'm just gonna win and beat this kid.
But you still took somewhat of a financial gamble. I mean, you were fighting against the stigma of being like a YouTube boxer versus like a real boxer. Do you think you had to put in some groundwork and kind of financially support it in the beginning to take some lower paid stuff? And when did it start to actually financially make sense for you?
No, for sure. I mean, the first fight, I was basically like losing money on fighting for the first couple of fights, just with all the money I was investing into it and the camps and the coaches and all that stuff. And even now, it's like some fights you'll take, you're just like breaking. Like not every fight is a massive money fight. That's people just always like see that as the headlines, whatever, and all of these things. So, but when I go and fight Ryan Borland or Andre August, like I'm making money, but it's like not. It's you're doing it because I'm going to become world champion and I have to stay active.
How true are some of the headlines? Like I saw one. It was in 2021 that said you made $40 million in 3 fights. Where did they
Like
those
three
matches? $40 million from.
That's
zero.
true. Yeah. I've roughly been averaging like around $40 million a year for the past 4 years in boxing. The first like year and a half of boxing, I didn't make much. But that's I guess what your question was. Like I was definitely at a loss in the first year of
How
boxing.
does that change your perspective on money? And do you ever think like, oh man, why didn't I do this sooner?
I think everything worked out perfectly, right? Like if I didn't have my YouTube persona and following, and everyone doubting me to become a boxer, and people hating me from everything that happened in that world, I don't think I would be making as much. Like in boxing, the villain makes more. So I mean, that's why I purposely make people hate me and like play that role and be the bad guys. Because what are you gonna pay more? You want to pay for the pay-per-view or tune into Netflix to see the guy get knocked out that you hate. That fear and hate is a more powerful emotion oftentimes. So that's what I draw out of it. That
Team surrendered.
It's like I'm definitely blessed and grateful and all this stuff, but it feels like every bit of it was earned. Like I've worked my butt off for 12 years straight every single day, and then finally, everything clicks overnight, and then 8-9 years into it is when I like start feeling like I'm finally making what I deserve. So I feel like every single thing, every penny that I've made, I actually deserve more because of the amount of hard work that I've put in. And I think my biggest paydays are still to come for sure in the sport of boxing, but also in business, because every day I lay the foundation. And that's where people don't understand is like nothing is an overnight success. And the people who are billionaires and all this stuff, they earned that. They truly earned that.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of hard work, and it was really cool to observe the change from you seemingly being like a YouTube boxer to like over time as a couple years have passed, people were like, no, he's like a real boxer. I remember I was at a bar watching your fight with Mike Tyson and some guys, random older guys, right next to me were talking. They're like, yeah, Tyson's just gonna show this kid like what's up. He's gonna destroy him.
Yeah.
And then the guy he was talking to was like, no, I'm pretty sure he's like a real boxer now. And he's like, no, it's not gonna happen. Yeah, and it was like on all of the screens in I think it was Red Rock Casino in Vegas. Yeah, and that was cool to see.
It's funny too because I don't watch any sports whatsoever, but I've seen all of your matches.
Thank you, man.
Part of it I don't know is because there's like a YouTube camaraderie where it's like I want to see you fight, but also it seems like everyone I know is interested in your fights. The Tyson fight was massive. I probably had 15-20 people over at the house watching it.
No, that was like a different level and a different scale, but I think because of my story and how the uniqueness of it, more people besides the boxing audience are actually interested in the fighting and my story and to see how I'm going to do it, how am I going to perform, and it's just continued to grow and grow. And so I think that's the differentiator and why a lot more people are interested in boxing now and this new path that I've taken.
And with boxing, is it going to be similar to YouTube where like every time you have to amp it up a little more, a little more, a little more? Like where do you see the trajectory going?
It's different, man. It really is. I think boxing is more patience. You can take your time. I can choose whoever I want to fight, and I'm more in control of my destiny. There's not like YouTube or any of these. I don't have to worry about 15 different creators in my house and all their problems. Like I can just actually focus on me. And I've been boxing for 5 years, right, which is already double the amount of time that I daily vlogged. So it is interesting that some people don't even know that I was a YouTuber. Like genuinely, that they haven't even watched my videos, but they've watched me fight. So I think I'm more known as a boxer now, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. But I definitely want to amp it up and do bigger fights and challenge myself and become a champion. So naturally, I've set that as my goal, and I think it'll create such a crazy sports story where I go from 0 not knowing jabs and hooks,
Gudra.
body shots, and all these things, walking into a gym, and then 6 to 7 years later, becoming the best in the world. I want to do that just to inspire kids that they can go after something against all odds and accomplish it.
What was the deal with the controversy about boxer pay? I remember this a few years ago, and you criticized Dana White and the UFC for not paying their boxers enough. What was that about?
I started being around boxers and MMA fighters and all this stuff, and would always hear how underpaid they were. And I obviously know that these are the hardest sports in the world. You're getting bashed in the head like 3 days a week, right, early in the morning sparring. And Amanda Serrano, she was getting paid like $4,000 a fight, and she's one of the best fighters to ever live. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, how is this possible? And so I started to just hear more about all these stories, and I started talking about how these fighters weren't getting paid enough and weren't getting paid a lot. Once I did that, everyone started supporting me and basically backing me and encouraging me to talk more about it. And UFC fighters were coming to me behind the scenes like, we don't get paid this, we're taken advantage of. And I started to learn more about it, and I was like, this is insane. And so I basically accidentally became a spokesperson for like women's fighters and for MMA fighters who are getting paid basically. And I found out that the UFC only pays its fighters like 10% of its income, whereas like in the NBA and NFL, the athletes get paid 50% of the total income. So like this is a massive discrepancy. They don't have health insurance, all of these things, and so I just started simply speaking on it, and it became this massive thing between me and Dana White where we just constantly were beefing back and forth for years. But genuinely, I was just like, hey man, you're paying these fighters a minimum of $12,000 for a fight. They're risking their lives. Why not just increase it to $50,000? You're gonna make the sport better because they're gonna take it more seriously. They won't have to work other jobs, and it's just gonna be better for the whole ecosystem. And that was my only like request.
What was his reasoning?
He just doesn't have to. I mean, it's just capitalism at the end of the day, right? Like, he has these fighters under contract regardless. He can pay them whatever he wants, essentially, or they won't fight. So, it's really essentially a monopoly of sorts, and he doesn't have to listen to anyone or pay them more, and he's not. So
why did you start your own promotions company?
yeah, I mean, I guess it was just like a natural progression, right? Like from Team 10, just bring it back into boxing. No, but
Take it away from
I know, like, but truly, imagine the world of boxing as like Taxi, and it's just these old, outdated promoters. No one knows what they're doing. None of them are good at marketing. They're signing these fighters to like 10 fight deals where they're taking advantage of them. Dirty business, shelving fighters, all these egos and weird things wrapped up into the sport. And me and my business partner Akisa were like, we could do this so much better with just a few changes. And we put fighters first. Everyone wanted to be with us all of a sudden overnight. We're doing better marketing, more viral fights, being more creative, and instantly basically was a success. And everywhere we went, people were like, you guys are the best to work with, you guys are the best to work with, you guys are the best to work with. And so it's been 3.5 years now, and we threw the biggest fight in boxing history and continue to do more. The next fight with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor on Netflix. We've made Amanda Serrano the highest paid female athlete for a single event ever, and it's just been really successful. And there's still so much more to do.
How are the finances broken down behind the scenes? Because hosting an event like that could be millions of dollars.
Each fight is different, but essentially you're getting paid from the broadcasting, so whether that's like pay-per-view or Netflix or DAZN or whatever, and then there's like the ticket sales of like the in-person, and you work out an agreement where fighters are going to get this much, this fighter's going to get this much, and us as the promotion is taking the risk essentially, but after a certain amount of money, like any of the profit will get split up depending between the two main event fighters and then the promotional company. And so you can lose money on events, but you know, knock on wood or whatever, but we've been doing pretty well, and events can profit millions and millions of dollars.
What's your thought on Creator Clash?
I thought it was super entertaining. I watched all of them.
Really? I was in the first one.
Yeah, I saw you fight, but
Michael Reeves.
when bro, I think that stuff is it had its era, right? I think like influencer boxing was cool for a bit, but then once the influencers didn't get any better, people didn't want to fight each other, and everything was kind of like sloppy fights, then it kind of like died out.
I think it was the novelty of it.
Yeah,
Kind of went away.
exactly. So it kind of just got old. But actually, one of the people who helped with Creator Clash like works for MVP now. But he's like a wizard and just understands the marketing, the differentiation, and disrupting and just being different in the sport.
What do you think is your highest high and lowest low so far in your boxing career?
Really quick, I just want to say that when Jack and I first started the podcast, we had to figure out practically everything ourselves, from the best equipment to use, how to edit, how to book guests, you name it. That's why if you're starting out your own business, today's sponsor is incredibly relevant, and that would be Shopify.
Shopify is basically your all-in-one business partner. They power millions of businesses worldwide, like Mattel and Gymshark, to entrepreneurs just getting started. Fun fact, if you've actually shopped online in the United States, there's an extremely high likelihood it was powered by Shopify because they handle about 10% of all American e-commerce.
What's great about Shopify is that you get a complete design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates to build a beautiful online store that perfectly matches your brand. There's no coding need. Their AI tools even help you write product descriptions or enhance your product photos.
Shopify also makes marketing extremely easy with simple email and social campaigns to reach customers wherever they're scrolling. Plus, they handle everything from inventory to shipping to returns. Basically, all of the complicated stuff you don't want to deal with.
If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business ideas into...
So sign up for a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/ICH. Seriously, guys, start that business you've wanted to start. It costs $1 per month. Shopify.com/ICH. Shopify.com/ICH. I could not recommend it more. I have my own Shopify store. I know plenty of people that have made massive businesses off of Shopify. Couldn't recommend it more.
Thanks again to our sponsor, Shopify, and now let's get back to the podcast.
I got a question for you. When's the last time you needed to see a doctor, but you pushed it off? You made the excuse, I'm too busy, it'll heal on its own, or I don't even know.
Damn it.
I'm sure we've all been there. Booking a doctor's appointment can sometimes feel so daunting. But thanks to our
Damn it,
doctor,
man.
there's no reason to delay because they make it incredibly easy to find and book a doctor who's right for you.
For those unaware, ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and then click to instantly book a visit. It also filters for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, are a good fit for any medical needs you might have, and who are highly rated by verified patients. And then once you find the right doctor, you can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time slot that works best with you, and then click to instantly book a visit.
And appointments made through ZocDoc also happen really fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking, and you can even score same-day appointments. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/ice to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/ice. Once again, it is ZocDoc.com/ice, and we have a link down below in the description, so you can just click it there. Thank you so much to ZocDoc for sponsoring this episode.
I mean, highest high's got to be. That's a tough one, actually. I would say. I mean, the Mike Tyson moment, but also I think winning knockout of the year against Woodley was a great feeling. And then the lowest, it's easy to point to the Tommy Fury loss, but also I would say this year has just been very annoying with multiple massive fights falling through, and it's just so tiring. And the politics of boxing just get old, and dealing with people not actually wanting to fight and making fights happen and negotiation just is getting tiring.
How much work goes in behind the scenes before something gets announced?
So much, dude. I mean, we're on calls basically every day for months to make fights happen, and mostly Nikisa, so I feel bad for him, but my manager and business partner and MVP. But you know, he even has to call me and ask, like, okay, what size ring, what size gloves? They want this. They want the fight here. We want the fight there. The judge needs to be this. The ref needs to be that. They want this much money. Are you willing to take, this much less to give them that much more? And I'm like, no. And then he has to go convince them. And then, dude, it's a lot, bro. It's a lot.
What was the final number that you won in the Tyson fight?
It was like low 30s, low 30 million.
Did you do anything with that money immediately afterwards? When the wire hit your account?
I haven't really announced it yet, but I guess people kind of know or kind of don't know. But I bought a ranch, a pretty expensive ranch. It wasn't like right away after the Tyson fight or whatever, but I've been wanting to buy a ranch for the past 15 years. It's kind of been like my dream and why I work so hard, and I think it's just I love everything to do with hunting, jet skiing, ATVs, fishing, horses, cows, all that stuff. I grew up going to a cabin a lot with my dad, and so I've always just wanted to go back to that, and so been working towards buying a ranch for a long time.
How much did it cost?
It cost $39 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
pretty.
costs about a fight.
Yeah, about a fight. couple of rounds there.
How big is it?
It's 5,700 acres.
Oh my god.
It's massive. It's a little bit bigger than I wanted, but when I got there, I was like, I have to buy this.
What are the logistics of buying a ranch like that? Do you find a broker? Like, how do you even find that much land for sale? Is this...
Yeah, it's pretty rare for that big of a plot to be for sale, like all in one area. And yeah, we had a realtor. Shout out to Walter Hatchett and John Kohler. But I was looking at a bunch of properties, and I was looking online for years. And every year that I would look, I wouldn't really find many properties to even go look at. But then I started finding some that popped up on the market because I had all these specifications. Like, I needed to be able to wake surf and hunt, and I want to build a racetrack on it. So I want to be able to do all of these things and also be able to, like, yeah.
Do you have your own lake?
Yeah, it has multiple lakes.
How big are the lakes? And do you have to stock fish in them?
Yeah, so it was stocked like a couple of years ago, but you have to stock it pretty much like every like 5 years. You drain the lake and then put it back and then restock it. But the one lake is 20 acres, the other one's 30, and then there's like a 4-acre one. It's
I feel like it's everyone's dream. Every guy's dream is to have a ranch.
Yeah.
You can go there with your friends. You have dirt bikes. You have it's like a Danny Duncan life.
Yeah,
It's like the Whistler
it's-
Diesel kind of life, just going around and messing around.
Exactly, and also being able to like raise your kids in
Yeah.
nature and teach them about animals and all of that stuff, and that's how I was raised. And I think we're in the iPad kid generation. Like, I'm not letting my kids have iPads. Like, they're gonna be real and social, and it's just amazing. Like, even the city that it's in, everyone there is so mature and nice and smart. All the kids, like, there's literally like kids running a whole coffee shop there by themselves, and they're like 15, 14 years old, 12 years old. So I just wanted to be like in that environment. And
Is that going to be self-sustaining, where you could theoretically just live off the grid?
yeah, no, it will be eventually, for sure. That's the goal, is to have our own steaks and plants and vegetables and anything we want to do there is a possibility.
I feel like in terms of upping the stakes with boxing, you ever gonna fight Logan?
Man, I don't think so. I really don't think we will fight.
That would be one of the most anticipated events.
That's the only reason why I think we maybe would, is just because, like, we do everything that no one else does, right? Like, no other boxing brothers in history have fought. The Klitschko's, the Charlos, the list goes on and on, but we could be the first, idiots to just say it. But I think it'd be better in MMA, because in boxing, like, I would beat him pretty easily. And so I think...
You think it won't even be close?
No.
What would you say that?
I think he would probably agree, but I think he would think it would be closer. He would last like 2 rounds with me in boxing, maybe 3. But in MMA, I think he would actually have the advantage because he's
Wrestling?
He's really good at wrestling. And he can do like the splits, so I'm pretty sure he could kick me in the head. Like, he can kick highs.
Would your parents not like that?
No, they've always said no. They've always said if you do it, like, we're gonna disown you type.
Do they think it would impact your relationship together? Like, if one of you wins, it's the other one is going to be maybe a little resentful of that.
For sure. For sure. But we made it through worse, I think. I think diss tracks were worse than us fighting.
Really?
Yeah.
But those, I saw those and I was like, there's no way this is real.
That was real. Those were real.
I agree. I was with Jag. I'm like, there's no way.
That's so funny. So we always, as an audience, only ever had the wrong idea of what was going on.
I think so. I think so.
So
Yeah.
what was the realest moment? Like, did you see a notification on your phone? It was like diss track, and you're like, oh no. there's
Yeah,
no
watching
way.
it, I was just like this.
They would
He's
just
going
send it
hard.
to you first. Like, no one would send it to you before it was
No, we
live.
wouldn't even talk. We didn't even talk back then.
So that was the worst relationship that you had with Logan.
Yeah, that was like the worst time for sure. But I mean,
Was there a bar in that diss track or in any of the diss tracks that like really made you angry?
I think the thing that made me the most angry was he said, do your investors know Team 10's not making any money? I was like, bro. I was like, bro, I'm working so hard on this company and it's just not working. I was like, that really hurt me. That really hurt me.
And then how do you take that and then like diss it back to him? Like, do you ever feel like maybe you've crossed a line, or at that point it was like, oh yeah, you mentioned Team Denhouse, let's go in with this.
I forget what happened after that, to be honest, but I think it honestly, like, even though I was like, this is insane and like this is going by, like, everything at that point in time was like adding to the hype. So I just saw everything as like a net positive. I was like, this is great. Now I can go. I think I would like go then show up at his house and like then we pranked him and then my video got like 20 million views. So like I really didn't care. You know, like, we were on this rampage, but I think what people don't realize about Logan and I is that it's actually rooted in us wanting like freedom, and I think more so around like financial freedom for our families. And I think at the time we were just like, this is making money, and money is a tool, and people say like money doesn't buy happiness, and it buys freedom, which is like one of the number one things in the world that everyone is actually secretly striving for, and it buys you time to spend with loved ones and your family and being there for your kids. So it does buy you love and happiness and all of these things, and not buying you love in terms of like your partner, but like it buys you more time to create love and memories and moments with your family. So I think that's where we've been like hell bent and like super driven to make money, and I think that was really especially then back in the day.
What keeps you going most now then? Is it still the pursuit of money? Is it like the pursuit to be the best boxer in the world?
Number one right now is definitely becoming world champion in boxing, and I think for me, I've always challenged myself with wanting to exit a company for $1 billion. Since I was a kid, I went to Silicon Valley when I was like 17 and fell in love with investing in startup world, creating the future, creating like a cutting edge company. And I was meeting all these billionaires when I was a young kid. And I was like, these guys are impressive, but I think I can do what they're doing. And so I think I still have those 2 goals, like 1, become world champion, and 2, exit a $1 billion company. Not the financial part of it's great. Yeah, I love money. Everyone loves money. If you can't admit that, then you're a liar. But because of the intricacies and the challenge it takes to get there, it's like a real life game of Monopoly. And I think that's always just been a challenge for myself, because there's only 3,000 billionaires in the world, and I want to challenge myself to see if I can play the game of life at the highest level.
How far away are you from hitting a billionaire status?
I'm far. Yeah, it's once you start working towards it, it's like way harder than you think. And that's $1 billion liquid. Like if I looked at my net worth, I'm not as far as I think. But having $1 billion liquid is like way different than having $1 billion net worth, for sure. It's like 2 very, very different.
Interesting. We're talking to Papa John. He got over $1 billion liquid.
Yeah.
He talks about just putting it in dividend stocks, earning 5%.
Yeah, you make $50 million
and
a
that's
year.
it.
That's
You
$136,000 a day off of 5%. It's insane.
Is this how you break it down, like by the day, in terms of income? Because I would do the same thing, and I put a time for every hour of the day, and then I would calculate, is this worth my time to do this certain thing, or like take an afternoon off? Because I would be losing out on that amount of money if I wasn't working.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think the focus is is boxing, where I'm making the most amount of money, like liquid, right now. So for me, it's more so just like framing it around like my fights and working towards a fight, and trying to set up the biggest fights possible. But also, I'm fighting Chavez, you know, June 28th, and that's not necessarily the biggest fight ever, but it's a challenging fight. He's a former world champion, and then the WBA and the WBC, which are the sanctioning bodies, are planning to rank me depending on how I do in the fight, and based off of that ranking, I'll then be able to go fight for a world championship.
What about fighting Canelo?
Yeah, it almost happened. I mean, we were on the 1 yard line, letter of intent signed, and then his other business deal, he had a 3-fight deal that he signed, but he was able to fight one time before that. And once these people figured out that he was going to fight me before his 3-fight deal, they threatened to pool his 3-fight deal, which was like $300 million. So of course he was like, I can't fight you.
Why would they? I feel like it would be good.
They don't want him to fight me because I have people who dislike me in the sport who don't want to see me succeed and win and be the biggest name in the sport.
How much do you think you would have won in that fight?
Like, how much would I have made?
Yeah.
Like 100 million.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do you get more or less if you win or lose, or does it not matter?
No, it doesn't matter. Some, like, very rarely in the sport do you ever see that. It's very rare.
This might be a stupid question, but for close friends and family bet on you to win? Like direct friends and family, or is that not allowed?
They
I'm just curious.
can. I just am not allowed to know about it.
Okay.
So and that like rule changed, I think, like last year. Like 3 years ago, that they could bet on me and I could know about it, and then for some reason, like a year ago, I think they changed the rules where I can't know about it or something.
Can you bet on yourself?
I can bet on myself.
Do you
I was
bet on
gonna
yourself?
bet against Canelo. I was gonna bet like $2 million on myself.
Did you bet against yourself on the Tyson fight?
Did I bet on myself?
Yeah, on yourself.
No. For just because of the odds, like it really like wasn't worth it because I was the favorite. But with Canelo, I would have been probably like a plus 1,000 underdog. So whatever the math on that is, if I would have bet $2 million, I probably would have made like, I think math's like 20 or something like that.
So I'm just curious to wrap up because everyone wants to know like the Jake and the Logan fight. Who do you think wants it less then? Like, what's the main obstacle? And how much do you think it would make?
I think
Oh,
if
God.
Logan and I fought, we'd probably both make like 70 to 100 million. But
It would break records.
yeah, I think so. Who wants it less? I would say we both really don't
Really?
care right now.
Okay.
Yeah. He's so focused on WWE, and I have like 7 people on a list waiting to fight me. And there's plenty of other ways to make big moments and do big things than fighting my brother.
What about the health risks of like eventually one day imagine you have a family and children and there's a serious risk or you just get hit the wrong way and something happens?
Yeah, I mean it's scary. I think, ESPN did a study where they ranked the hardest sports in the world. They had like 70 professional analysts vote on the hardest sports in the world, and boxing was ranked #1 for its danger and just how hard it is and the dedication and all that stuff and the cardio, the conditioning. It's a sprint and a marathon at the same time. But I feel great. So I don't know, after 5 years of doing it, I'm healthier than ever, mentally doing amazing. So I'm just always thinking of the positive, and even in sparring, I've never been knocked down or knocked out or anything. So I've just yet to experience any.
Have you ever been knocked out?
No, never. I was meditating once. That's how my nose is crooked. People think my nose is crooked from boxing, but I was meditating once. It's the only time I've ever passed out and I got knocked out. But I like was sitting on this higher chair thing, meditating, breathing in, and I think I had like low blood sugar or something, or it was early in the morning, earlier than I normally woke up, and I just fell forward straight into the concrete, and it broke my nose, and I was like knocked out for like 5-6 seconds. But that's the only time I've ever passed out and got knocked out all in one go.
How often do you meditate? I remember you speaking about visualizing the win and like really getting in that state.
I meditate every morning for about 5-10 minutes. I figure I like doing it more consistently for shorter versus like trying to like catch up on it. But I just have so much going on in my life that if I don't take that moment in the morning to like think through my day, have gratitude, think of how I want to attack the day, all the things I want to do, I'll just like lose myself in just the madness of everything going on. But yeah, so the manifestation thing and visualizing the fight, you're actually like preparing your brain to create that moment, and when it's there and when you're in the moment, your brain is actually going to react quicker and know what's going on if you're visualizing it time in and time again. And then I vocally say what's going to happen out loud. We live in a vibrational world of frequencies. We're electrical beings on like these different frequencies, and so you're actually just creating the sound and creating the frequency into the world of what you want to happen. And it's worked for me. I think you have to like truly believe it and truly believe in magic, otherwise it doesn't work for a lot of people.
We were talking to Michelle Carr, and she said that one of the things she was doing to prepare is that she would listen every morning to crowd cheering, just to get used to when she walks in the ring that she would hear the crowd cheering, and then she visualized that was for her.
Yeah, I spar in the last 2 weeks of camp I spar in the gym. We have like super loud speakers. I spar with the crowd noise and the speakers cranked all the way up. Because it's a different environment. You want to simulate the environment you're in and not being able to hear your coaches over the crowd sometimes. And so I do all of these things to just mimic the fight night and the pressure and all that.
What would you say is truly the most difficult aspect of fame and success?
I guess the fame. I don't think there's a difficult aspect of success. Besides the sacrifice and you have to give up a lot of things to work hard. But I think that fame has way more benefits than it does any downsides. And I feel blessed. I think I'm lucky and have worked to be in the position I'm in. But there is times where I'm want to just go to the grocery store or
I've never used Tyranitar before, so let me try this. Tyranitar. Let's go Tyranitar.
I went to Walmart the other night in a full disguise, and it was just nice. I guess just doing normal things, right? Michael Jackson once hired actors and shut down a grocery store and had them be in there acting like they were shopping just so he could walk around and go to a grocery store. So I think when you're eating and you're with my fiance and people are coming up and there's food in my mouth and they're shoving cameras in your face. It's just little moments like that. But I want to make all my fans happy, and so I do want to take pictures with everyone and be nice to everyone, and if I can make their day, that makes me happy as well.
So you put on a disguise just to go to Walmart? What's the disguise? How do you do this?
Yeah, pants, long sleeves, sweatshirt, and then I wear a hat and sunglasses, and then I put the hoodie up. So really,
COVID mask. I feel like that would.
Yeah, sometimes I do the COVID mask, but then it's I can't breathe. But that's if it's in a super crowded place. I went to Walmart late at night, so there wasn't a lot of people.
What'd
there.
you go there to buy?
I was at my new ranch, and so I was just picking up just all sorts of random new
Did
stuff.
you get recognized anyone?
Yeah, one guy.
One guy still?
Yeah.
How? Did he hear your voice?
No, I was in the back and I was overheating from the disguise, and so I took my sunglasses off and the hoodie off, and then he just saw me.
That is
Yeah.
fine.
Is it difficult to maintain relationships being so public?
I don't know. I don't think that's ever been an issue for me. I think a lot of people have issues with it because they get so wrapped up in, I guess, their fans and how their fans care about the relationship. But I've just always been able to really disconnect from social media and distance myself from comments or highs or lows or whatever people are saying.
You have a tattoo that says, "I wish I could explain."
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it has. I wish I could explain. It has. You can't ever judge someone until you've actually been in their shoes, right? I find myself sometimes being mad at people or not understanding people, but then I realize if I had lived their life and experienced everything that they experienced and I had their genetics, I would be that exact same person. And so that really removes a lot of judgment. And there was a point where when I got this tattoo where I just felt super
This
misunderstood by
Pubertas
the
sucks,
world.
man.
And I truly felt that if I walked into a bar with my biggest hater, anyone who truly didn't like me, we would at least leave the bar with a mutual understanding and respect and a little bit of love for each other. And I think that frustration of not being able to sit down with every single person in the world and have a conversation with them and come to some sort of middle ground of knowing that we're just all flawed humans trying to do our best was frustrating, because I feel I wish I could explain to these people my situation and circumstances and why they necessarily shouldn't have certain judgments of me.
So if you could snap your fingers and you keep all the money but you lose the fame, you would not do that.
It depends what day you ask me. But I would say I would keep it how it is, just because I feel as if I can do good things to inspire and to help the world with my platform currently, more than I could do if I was just wealthy.
Yeah. How did ayahuasca change your perspective?
I think I used to be pretty sadistic, and I think didn't have a relationship with God, and I was just lost. And I got into meditation and breath work, and that's when I felt the presence of God. And then I did shrooms, and I was whoa, this world is crazy. And I felt all these emotions and self-identity and ego death and all these crazy things and energies and this different conscious world, and it opened my eyes up to a lot. And so I just went down this path of self-improvement, self-learning, how my actions affect the rest of the world, etc. And all of these things were, I think, slowly bringing me closer to a relationship with God. And then through ayahuasca, just experienced so many magical things. Looking yourself in the mirror, which is also really hard to do, it shows you all your flaws, where you can improve, but also shows you how amazing you are, and where your superpowers lie, and what things you're already doing that are great. And it's like this motherly figure, Mother Ayahuasca, and I believe she is a god. I think there's multiple different gods and entities, but feeling that love and that connection to that spirit and that god is just super, super powerful. And after I did like Toad and ayahuasca, I was like, all right, like God is certain, God is real. There's not a shadow of doubt in my mind. And since then, that relationship with God and praying and talking to him and having that guiding figure and that guiding light has just like improved my life in all aspects.
Were you nervous going into that? Like, this might change me for the worse, or I might not like who I become afterwards?
No, no, not really. I didn't know what to expect, and I think that's what made me nervous. But with psychedelics, I've like heard horror stories of people like changing and stuff and all that, but I never had any of those experiences with breathwork or shrooms, which is where I started. And I'm pretty strong-minded, and so I just looked at it as a tool to help uncover things. And I didn't think it was, and I wasn't going through like an identity crisis where a lot of people do ayahuasca and then like shave their head and change their names and stuff. Like I didn't need the like meaning or searching for like a group or like I'm just gonna become a hippie. I know what I was going into it with and my intentions, and I know the path I'm on. And so I think and I'm pretty self-aware. I think when people like aren't self-aware and they take ayahuasca, then they're gonna hate it. It's gonna be too much for them, and that could be mentally damaging. But I think I was doing pretty good as is, and then dove into that world.
Would you take it again?
Yeah, I've taken it like 6 times now. Yeah. No, I think everyone should take it, and everyone needs it. And I think if we all did ayahuasca, there were a little bit of love for each other. And I think that frustration of not being able to sit down with every single person in the world and have a conversation with them and come to some sort of middle ground of knowing that we're just all flawed humans trying to do our best was frustrating, because I feel like I wish I could explain to these people my situation and circumstances and why they necessarily shouldn't have certain judgments of me.
So if you could snap your fingers and you keep all the money but you lose the fame, you would not do that?
It depends what day you ask me. But I would say I would keep it how it is, just because I feel as if I can do good things to inspire and to help the world with my platform currently, more than I could do if I was like just wealthy.
Yeah, how did ayahuasca change your perspective?
I think I used to be pretty like sadistic, and I think didn't have a relationship with God, and I was like just lost. And I got into meditation and breath work, and that's when I like felt the presence of God. And then I did shrooms, and I was like, whoa, this world is crazy. And I felt like all these emotions and self-identity and ego death and like all these crazy things and energies and this different conscious world, and it opened my eyes up to a lot. And so I just went down this path of self-improvement, self-learning, how my actions affect the rest of the world, etc. And all of these things were, I think, slowly bringing me closer to a relationship with God. And then through ayahuasca, just experienced so many magical things. Looking yourself in the mirror, which is also like really hard to do, it shows you all your flaws, where you can improve, but it also shows you how amazing you are and where your superpowers lie and what things you're already doing that are great. And it's like this motherly figure, Mother Ayahuasca, and I believe she is a god. I think there's multiple different gods and entities, but feeling that love and that connection to that spirit and that god is just super, super powerful. And after I did like Toad and ayahuasca, I was like, all right, like God is certain, God is real. There's not a shadow of doubt in my mind. And since then, that relationship with God and praying and talking to him and having that guiding figure and that guiding light has just like improved my life in all aspects.
Were you nervous going into that? Like, this might change me for the worse, or I might not like who I become afterwards?
No, not really. I didn't know what to expect, and I think that's what made me nervous. But with psychedelics, I've like heard horror stories of people like changing and stuff and all that, but I never had any of those experiences with breathwork or shrooms, which is where I started. And I'm pretty strong-minded, and so I just looked at it as a tool to help uncover things. And I didn't think it was, and I wasn't going through like an identity crisis where a lot of people do ayahuasca and then like shave their head and change their names and stuff. Like I didn't need the like meaning or searching for like a group or like I'm just gonna become a hippie. I know what I was going into it with and my intentions, and I know the path I'm on. And so I think and I'm pretty self-aware. I think when people like aren't self-aware and they take ayahuasca, then they're gonna hate it. It's gonna be too much for them, and that could be mentally damaging. But I think I was doing pretty good as is, and then dove into that world.
Would you take it again?
Yeah, I've taken it like 6 times now. Yeah. No, I think everyone should take it, and everyone needs it. And I think if we all did ayahuasca, the world would be a much, much better place. There'd be less judgment. And it's like being in the gym, right? People think you go to take ayahuasca once and your life is complete and you're gonna figure everything out. It's not the case at all. It's
it's a look into like what could be, but you have to integrate. You have to actually make the changes, and that's where a lot of people struggle and fail. You know, I've seen a lot of things where it's like improve here, improve there, and I do good for a little bit, and then I like go back to my default settings. So it's a constant work for self improvement and for psychedelics and ayahuasca and all these things. So you really need to stay at it, unless you are super content with who you are and all these things. But I always want to be better, and I know I can be better, and I think sometimes you need those reminders of what areas you're lacking in.
Now, you've said before that you want to have higher quality thoughts. How do you go about doing that?
It's hard,
What sort
man.
of thoughts are we talking about?
Yeah, it's hard. I had my friend Marcel like come and hypnotize me recently, and we did this like hour and a half long session, and he's like yelling at you and like going deep and like making you think of all those bad thoughts and traumas and things, and then like basically trying to like erase it from the hard drive like a computer. We are computers, and like we're programmed like computers in our thoughts and subconscious and all of these things. And we're electrical beings, so we're literally computers, and so essentially you have to clear up that junk space. You have to get rid of any viruses, anything that is in there, and that's the best way to explain it. But since then, I've noticed a really big improvement, and it's like anytime something negative comes up, or oh, this is gonna be hard, or oh, I don't want to do this today, or whatever it might be, or anything, the positive thought, you have to train yourself for it to come in and take care of the negative thought and focus and prioritize the positive one. And it's it's like going to the gym. It's like reps, you know. And for me, a lot of times, a lot of the negative thoughts and stuff come in the morning. Like right when I wake up, it's like, oh, I gotta do this today, and all these things. And I'm all stressed out, and it's like, no, calm down. I'm gonna take care of my responsibilities today with ease. I got this. This is what I'm good at. I'm not worried. I'm excited to box and train, and I'm excited to do these calls and interviews and filming today, and changing some of those ways of thinking. But it takes time.
That's interesting that you just say, just like any muscle or any skill, it just takes reps and you can get good at it. I'm curious, what is your least deserving criticism that people give you, that you think people are completely misguided on?
Yeah, rigged fights and like steroids, I think is probably the most ludicrous ones, which Dana White started both of those rumors. Like after I beat Mike Tyson, the amount of people saying like this is rigged, and they like showed this clip of Mike Tyson like going to swing at me with a left hook, and like he like stopped doing it, but the average person doesn't understand boxing and saw I had like my right hand up, so he would have like swung like this, I catch it and shoot, he's leaning forward, like I could have knocked him out, so that's why he stopped throwing it. And it's like they play this one clip and it has literally 50 million views on TikTok of like and Twitter of like this is a rigged fight. So that's definitely number one. But
It's interesting. I remember seeing that on Twitter.
Yeah.
And people are like, Tyson was going to knock it out of him, but he couldn't because it was in the contract. And I was like, wow, it's in the contract? I had no idea. Yeah, it's rigged. And it's people's make.
well, it pissed off Netflix so much that that people think that Netflix would allow that to be in the contract. First of all, like Netflix wanted like one of us to die for sure for the entertainment purposes. But in the next in my next fight on Netflix, there's a like multi-million-dollar knockout bonus for if someone gets knocked out. So just to combat that narrative of like the rigged fights.
See, I always thought the winner would get more in a fight like this, and in that way it would financially incentivize people to like really just.
There's sometimes knockout bonuses. I think for Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, I don't know if it's announced, but I think there's like a $500,000 knockout bonus, but it's just like rare kind of.
When you're fighting Mike Tyson, are there certain subtleties in the way that he fights that you don't see in any other fighters? You're like, okay, you've studied the game, you fought for so long, you're fighting IQ in the same way an NBA player, like somebody who's been in the league for a long time, they have high NBA IQ, or is every fighter that steps into that professional ring like ready?
Everyone's ready. I think what was surprising about Mike Tyson is like how hard it was to hit him. Like his movement and getting out of the way of punches, he's like lightning fast even at his age. So I got to see and understand like what made him an icon was that style where he like just disappears out of nowhere, and that was definitely shocking. But I think every fighter has that one attribute that stands out. You know, even if you're whooping their ass, they're still a fighter. They're still good. You're still in there with someone who can knock you out. So you definitely always have to be cautious.
I'm curious, what was up in the locker room scene where he just turned around?
Yeah.
Was any of that planned? Or
No,
was
it's
that
not planned. I
I
was
couldn't
watching that.
believe it.
I thought it was the funniest ever.
we paused it? We're like, no way, we have
Well, I
to go
guess
back.
he doesn't wear underwear like under his cup. So, and I think he just like wasn't thinking. I don't know.
Didn't care.
Yeah.
Listen, and if we were Mike
Yeah.
Tyson, you could afford just not to care.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want when you're Mike Tyson. It's very true.
Let's talk about some of these companies you're building. First of all, Better. You raised recently at a $375 million valuation. What is your role and vision with this company?
I'm really like one of the heads of marketing and like the social media side and growing out the media team. But the vision for the company was all of these sports gambling companies are very hard to use. They're ran by older people. Their marketing is all like very traditional. They're not like good at digital marketing or building a brand for themselves. And we wanted to make the best app easiest to use and connect with the next generation of sports fans. And really that's been the alpha and what has worked. And me and the CEO Joey Levy are the youngest two people in the United States with a gaming license. So we just have that understanding of the next generation and how to access these people and explain the product to them in an easy to understand way.
Also with W, that was a really interesting pivot that I noticed, like getting into hygiene.
Yeah.
I thought, like, what's the main goal there? What was the gap in the market that you wanted to fill?
Well, I mean, most people don't switch their deodorants. Like, even still, people are probably like using like Axe or Old Spice or like Dove or Degree maybe, and these products like just aren't good for you. Hormone disruptors made with things that mess with your body, phthalates, artificial dyes, sulfates. The list goes on. I personally think some of the brands are like corny, and it was time for something new and a better product that stood for something. That waking up and choosing to be a winner, getting W's, working hard, and that's where the brand idea came from, and being a better option and a better brand that the next generation can identify with, and not being like still using Axe.
Yeah. If you're using Axe,
Get W.
reconsider. Yeah.
Make the switch.
I'm curious, what are the best uses of money that you found so far? The best things to buy?
Venture capital investments. I mean, I've done great there. I've done great in crypto. I've done great in real estate. Like, I got this house for 15.7. I could sell this for like overnight. Like, a buyer would buy this in like for 25 tomorrow. So real estate.
What about luxuries that you just like for yourself? Like, I noticed
Fun
you
things.
got you got a private jet.
I got. Well, I was gonna say a plane because it's like it's time, it's access, it's health. Honestly, like going to airports and all the people around, sicknesses going around, the refiltered air. Like if I'm sick for 5 days and I'm training for a fight, like how does that affect me? So all of these things that go into it, and just the freedom to be able to do what you want, business meetings, people hopping on the plane, being able to send the plane for other people to come do something, whatever it might be. So I think that's another really nice tool and lifesaver, because I like can't go to airports again unless I have like a full disguise on.
How often do you use the private jet?
I'm probably flying like 320 hours a year,
Wow.
which is a lot. I think
Yeah.
it's a pretty good amount.
I flew my first private jet just a few days ago.
Oh,
We
really?
did.
Yeah.
Ben Mala in Florida took us on his plane to go to Atlanta. And it was like having a time
It was
machine.
sweet.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the best.
Like-
And you're doing business. You're being creative. Your whole team is there. You can get things done. And we have some of our best conversations and best hangouts on a plane.
Yeah.
So
Do you invest in stocks?
yeah, I have. I mean, I'm with Morgan Stanley, and they do like all my traditional money management, and they've done a great job. So I have a diversified portfolio:
go. Index funds.
stocks, crypto,
Nice.
venture capital, real estate, all the above.
What would you say have been the biggest waste of money you've spent money on?
Also private land. So
Okay.
it's like you're just like flushing money down the toilet. But I mean, it's worth it. But it is one of those things where it's like,
Do you ever have any anxiety about spending money?
yeah, for sure. Just because I've been in that place where I have the PTSD from like making a ton and then it all basically going down the drain. So I still for sure have anxiety, and I hate it. And I also am like very tight with it. Like if I notice an expense, I look at all my expenses. So if I notice something and it's like a $200 difference or thing that I think looks too expensive, or some vendor charged me maybe a little bit more, I'm like, no. And I put my team on it, and we'll like shave off literally like dollars. And so I look at every expense and like all that. So
think
and
you
you have to.
Yeah.
And people, you know what's funny? Like when you have money like this, like people just are like, well, you can spend it, you can do this, and it's like, no. The way you build money is by being stingy with it. So some things I don't give about. I'm like, sure, but the other areas we like cut a lot of costs as much as possible.
We got some rapid fire questions right here to wrap this up. Would you rather invest in stocks or real estate?
Right now, stocks.
Who's more responsible with money, you or Logan?
I would say it's pretty even actually.
Who's better at making money, you or Logan?
I'm better like at making money right now, but once he sells Prime for a couple
Okay,
billion, then
yeah.
he's gonna take the crown.
Why did you do an interview with a rooster on your head?
I'm El Gallo de Dorado is my given nickname here in the Puerto Rican streets, so I had to represent.
Who would win in a fight, you or 100 grams?
Oh man,
There's 100 of them, man.
Oh yeah.
Climbing up you, like, you gotta shake them off.
I honestly think I think I would still win, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
100 of me.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, but I would once I knocked out like 6, I could kind of build like a pile and like fight behind the pile, and then people
Use
would
them as a
start.
shield,
Yeah,
grab
that's
on
not,
3,
no,
keep
seriously,
moving around.
seriously, I could be choking them out, and then you guys like couldn't. I don't know. It'd be close. It'd be close.
What's more difficult, getting rich or staying relevant?
Oh man, I think getting rich. You know, the Island Boys are still out there cooking, man.
What's something that is truly surprising? I mean, that's true. He's not wrong. Actually, yeah, that's very true. What's something that's truly surprising how lucrative it is?
I think like self improvement and like being on a journey of meditation and like that whole world and the things that you uncover from that are pretty game changing.
What is a splurge that you have yet to buy?
I feel like I bought almost everything.
You bought everything.
I feel like maybe I definitely haven't gone and like dropped. I think at some point I'll probably go and buy like a a whole. I have a watch collection, but like I'll probably go and buy like 10 watches at some point.
What's the most you've ever spent one night?
I think technically it's like the payment I made on the ranch or this house I bought in cash. That both of those were expensive.
Who had the best verse in It's Everyday Bro?
I would say Nick Crompton.
What's the best bar in It's Everyday Bro?
A lot of people don't know this, but I wrote Tessa Brooks' verse, and I think the best was "Yeah, I smell good. Is that your boy's cologne?" That was a good part of the song.
I like that's
Well, so actually, I wrote Nick's verse
Of
too.
course you did, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
So and bro, I swear to God, like I dropped out of high school and I didn't know that England was a country, and I thought England was the city. Like actually,
Was he fine? He was like, oh yeah, sure.
No, he thought I was joking, and I genuinely like didn't know. But I'd never been there or like knew. I thought I just didn't know, bro. We did all of this in 30 minutes. So I'm like, boom, boom, boom. England is my city. Boom, boom. Oh yeah, that's fire. Boom, boom, boom. And so I handed it to him, and he thought I knew that England wasn't a city and that it was just funny. And so he still said it, and then it just like turned into this whole thing.
Dude, I don't think you realize the impact that had on my life. Probably like 10 times a day
That's
for
insane.
a year straight. No, with my friends. I would get my friends together and I would play it, and I would put on like compilations where I'd be playing for hours. My friends would be like,
That's
and Nick Crompton's verse, I
Yeah.
think, is just find me something better.
It's
Please.
amazing.
Please.
It was an era, bro. It really was an era.
And I hope his collar is still popping. That's the one.
It is.
Okay, good.
It is.
Jake, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on the show. This means a lot.
Of
And
course, thanks for having
beautiful
me.
house.
Thank you, man.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. That was
Anytime
great.
you want a roommate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys know.
there's room up here.
Thank you guys
There's
for
plenty of
watching.
room.
Until then. This is an Indian YouTube channel called Bandar Apna Dost.
Or subscribe me.
They started uploading about 6 months ago, and all the videos are fully generated by AI. They're all comedic, and they center around this monkey living in a human world. The channel has gained 3 million subscribers in the past 6 months, and there's real viewership. It's done 2 billion views. There's reports of this channel making really good money.
And this type of channel is everywhere now. It's what people are calling slop.
They're a type of artificially generated content that is flooding social media.
Enter the age of AI-generated infinite slop.
Now, AI didn't invent slop. Slop has been around forever. It's fast content that's made for the masses. But AI makes the production of slop exponential.
And the problem with slop is that it's contributing to the even greater problem that we're seeing on the internet right now. Abundance. There's too much stuff.
To put some numbers to that, there are 95 million photos and videos uploaded to Instagram every day. There are 23 million TikToks uploaded every day, and 20 million videos uploaded to YouTube every single day. And one of the main problems with this abundance is that a lot of the content is good. There's good content everywhere. It's on every screen, and it's not just made by humans, it's also made by AI. And all this content is only getting better every day.
The so-called AI slop is getting less sloppy.
It is becoming harder and harder to discern which is which.
The new Sora, it seems designed to make videos that look believable.
And this wave of content that we're seeing every day is what we've been calling the abundance era. This point where the supply for content has gone so far beyond the actual demand. So much so that it's hard for any creator to actually stand out, or any one thing to truly feel like a moment, to feel significant.
I truly believe that abundance is the biggest threat to the individual creator right now. So I think it's really important for us to talk about what's going on in our feeds right now and how you defend against this. How do you survive as a creator through the abundance era?
So today in the show, we're going to be breaking down this major shift that's taking place on the internet. It's basically like a slop survival guide.
Yeah. It's a whole episode about AI slop. If you have thoughts on it, which you probably already do, you're probably already pissed a little bit about this episode,
Or maybe a lot of it.
fair. It's a weird time. But feel free to comment now with some feelings, thoughts, get it out, and then be open to the discussion. I don't know why I'm so mad. I'm mad. Okay, so there's this new study done that shows that 20% of a new YouTube user's shorts feed is AI slop. This company basically started a bunch of new YouTube accounts, and this is what they report. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what they report. But that means that 80% of the other content is human-made. And so this number that we said about YouTube of 20 million videos posted every day, which is a number published by YouTube, that's an overwhelming amount of human-made content as well. So it's important to recognize that in the abundance era, there's both things are happening at the same time. We've also, over the past 10 years, had a rise in good quality human like just people who know how to make good videos.
Yeah, for me, it starts with COVID, where all of a sudden people have all of this available time to watch content. Hollywood's not able to produce like it used to, so the demand is really high and the supply is actually low. And creators came in to fill that demand the ad dollars moved to creators, and all of a sudden we had all of these individuals who became established professional creators, and it became very aspirational to be a creator, and that drove a lot of other people to want to be creators. I don't think there's like a single industry today that isn't touched by the creator economy.
So now, 6 years later, we are at a point in the creator economy where every niche is very saturated. And a lot of that also has to do, to be honest, with the fact that like copying or replicating content in the creator economy has little to no consequence. So if you go on YouTube, you're going to see hundreds of variations of the same video, and they all work.
Here's a video about a secret room from a creator named Ben Aslart, who we know, and here's a very similar video from Topper Guild.
If you just search 100 years of on YouTube, you will see an abundance of that video. And so that has also added to the abundance era, right? It's like the aspiration of being a creator and then the ability to just either come up with an original idea or replicate an idea that works.
And apparently there were enough views for everyone to do similar types of things, even within our smaller niche of the creator economy. I'll put these up on the screen right now. This is a video from us, a video from John Yushai, and then a video from Jordan Schwarzenberger.
Yep.
It's like every flavor within our industry, and it feels like we reached saturation even before AI.
Yeah, so even that abundance pre-AI has changed what it means to be an online creator. It's like increased competition for audience. Audiences have way more choice, right? And things are much more fractured and more niche. It's also why we have a reduction in that feeling of like things being a big deal. It's because everyone is in their own pocket.
Everyone's in their own little pocket.
And so it's harder to understand what we all watch, right? Or what we're all into.
So now, take that effect right there, that is human-made, and pile on this surge of AI video that's coming.
Now, originally, I will say, I was part of the creator class that was like, AI video, no one's gonna watch that. But we put together 7 examples of AI videos that have come across our feed that we want to show you guys and talk about because they're so substantial. So just understand what is happening right now.
Okay, first up, we have Neurosama.
My name is Neurosama, but you can call me Neuro. I'm an artificial intelligence created with a singular purpose of entertaining you all.
So Neurosama is a VTuber, which means virtual YouTuber. But Neurosama is a very unique VTuber because she is LLM based, like AI based.
Her creator uses a combination of LLMs and different software to make sure that she can be live on Twitch playing video games, interacting with chat, responding to chat. She can essentially see what's happening on screen in the video game, and she has a personality and tone to her.
Now, the thing about Neurosama that has really stuck out to me is she has a real community, to the point where she hosted a subathon at the beginning of this year and became the most subscribed to Twitch streamer in paid subs, meaning 165,000 people were paying to subscribe to Neurosama.
Which comes with estimates that she's making $400,000 a month, roughly.
Yeah, on top of it. But yeah, that's no joke. That's like real people, real money, real connection.
Let me just play a clip from her real quick.
You know what my favorite thing is? Cats, and eating them whole while they're still warm and fresh from the oven.
Okay, so I played that clip only to show you that there's a perspective there. Like, it is jarring, it is unhinged, it's entertaining.
Yeah, the thing I
it's not,
that's
not
really
watered down, it's bizarre.
That's really bizarre, but I think that is probably the enjoyment of it.
Yes.
Is that it is unpredictable in a way a human can't be.
I think Neurosama is just proof that even if AI content doesn't look human, if the story's good enough, people will tune in, and there's a real business there, people will transact.
Yeah, I mean, if you're unfamiliar with Lil Miquela, Lil Miquela was an Instagram influencer, still around actually, but started a few years ago, or maybe 10 years ago at this point, but like a character that showed up on Instagram as an influencer way before her time. But that was a real business. Like, she was doing brand deals, she was doing music, like, it was basically a virtual character created on Instagram.
And people thought that was weird because Instagram has historically been a place for your friends, for authenticity, for real people.
Exactly.
I'm gonna play a clip now from Instagram.
You can't make AI look real unless you use this.
A 3-step workflow that I give you at the end. First, force AI to inject realism with these tokens. Surface roughness, skin grain, micro bumps.
But your prompt is only very...
I don't know what side of Instagram they think I'm on, but
this is all I get.
I keep getting like, hey, this is how you make AI look human.
Yeah, so if we go from like Neurosama, which is LLM based but clearly not human, to Lil Miquela, which was a little bit more like, okay, human-like, to now the suggestion is make it indistinguishable. Like, literally the suggestion there is make it indistinguishable. And I will say, I have sent you a few Instagram Reels that I didn't know weren't real people.
Yes.
And that is a concerning era for me.
And yet the platform knows that this is happening and it's the wave of the future. Adam Mosseri put out a post at the end of 2025, and he said, relatively quickly, AI will create any aesthetic you like, including an imperfect one that presents as authentic. He goes on to say that this will be one of the first times in human history where we have to change the relationship with our eyes and whether we can believe them or not.
And I think it's a really important thing to recognize that was the premise of the creator economy, was authenticity, was real people, right? Like, the premise of Instagram was the extension of reality TV and the kind of like democratization of reality TV, which has been what gave birth to the creator economy.
You feel like you can trust Emma Chamberlain because you know who she is. She's showing her true self. It's not the Hollywood star system where someone's been made to be something maybe that they're not.
Sure.
These are supposed to be real people.
So in the creator economy and on YouTube, when things started to get more produced, we saw a rise in podcasts. Because podcasting was just what this is. We're just sitting here, we're talking, and you're watching us talk. It's like, it's real.
It's hard not to be yourself in a long-form conversation.
Yeah, so like long conversations. So I am scrolling Instagram 2 nights ago, and I come across this podcast setting with Mr. Beast. Obviously, we've had Jimmy on many times on this show, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen this one. I think I've seen almost every Mr. Beast podcast, but I've never seen this one.
I would post 100 videos per day, testing every single hook from different angles.
How would you record them? I mean, if you're starting over, you wouldn't have the budget to buy and destroy Lamborghinis.
Oh, I don't need a budget. I just go all in on AI cloning. Me and my team would create all the content using just one single photo of me. So this way, I don't spend time recording, and I just focus on bringing money. And technically, I can destroy Lamborghinis without even buying them.
Obviously, as you watch it a little bit more, you're like, that's AI. Of course. But on first glance, I was like, wait, what? And both people in that are AI, the host and Jimmy. And this account has interviews with Mark Zuckerberg and other notable people that look really real. And I'm recognizing as this gets better, the subject matter might just be interesting. Right now, again, like I don't want to watch that. I have an adverse reaction to it. But there's a lot of people, like these all have real views. This is real viewership. People are landing on this, and you can see where this is going.
Yeah, this is a piece of content that would replace a video that we made.
100%. 100%.
Flat out.
Yes.
Okay, so that leads us to AI and these tools being used to duplicate real people. That guy obviously is not working with Mr. Beast to replicate Mr. Beast, but what we're seeing are creators and celebrities creating digital twins of themselves.
So this concept really hit headlines with Khaby Lame doing a reported deal for almost $1 billion with this company in Hong Kong, and the concept was essentially take him because he's the most followed TikToker in the world, one of the most recognizable faces, and buy out the rights to his name, image, and likeness to create digital twins for live shopping in multiple languages all over the world. So 24/7 live shopping streams with Khaby Lame's face all over the world. Now, who knows about the ins and outs of this deal? It seems very strange, but the crux of it is the ability to take a recognizable face and commercialize it through putting it everywhere. Now, this concept of taking a familiar face and commercializing that face or monetizing that face across a bunch of different avenues is not unique to AI or this moment. It has happened in Hollywood before and is a model in Hollywood. Shaq is one of the first people to do this with a group called Authentic Brands Group. He's the largest shareholder in this company. But if you're wondering why you see Shaq in everything, like Gold Bond Shaq, Papa John's Shaq, Insurance General Shaq.
Yeah, it's because he sold the rights to essentially his face, to his name, image, and likeness. And now, I think the Khaby deal just shows us is that could eventually happen to a crazy degree through AI digital twins.
Yeah, it might actually happen differently. You might not have to pay $1 billion. It might just be like, a licensing model. If I get, I get your face and if I generate money, whatever. It basically, all this to say is like, this is a thing. Like there have been technically like twins created, right? Like Kevin Hart and Shaq can exist all over the world and that trades at a really high valuation. But AI enables this to a exponential degree. And we are already seeing celebrities do this.
Y'all see what type of morning we have it? Straight out the porch into the swamp. This ain't no stuffed animal. This the real deal gator right here. Keep the jaw pressed, you let go, he get you. Woo!
I mean, that's like good.
So that, I'm sure you know who that is.
Yeah, that's
if you're
AI
not
Snoop Dogg.
watching, that is AI Snoop Dogg wrestling an alligator.
And it looks really real. Let me tell you, that looks really real, and that has real engagement. What is that, 80,000 likes on this?
People are laughing nonstop in the comments.
I mean, it's funny. It's funny to watch. And this is an Instagram account called Death Row AI. And it is run by a creator who we're just chatting with upstairs here at the Lighthouse, Jesse Wellens, who, if you probably know him from YouTube, he was Prank First Prank. But Jesse is the AI director, I think it's called, or AI prompt director, AI creative director of this account. And so his job here is to take Snoop's name, image, and likeness and create funny
Spread it
content.
far and wide.
Yes, spread it far and wide. Like, this is happening. This digital twin thing is happening.
And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, it's happening, but this account has an art director, someone's being paid to make these, or Khaby Lame, there's this huge transaction, a company behind it. CEO of YouTube, Neil Mohan, said in his most recent letter that this year you're going to be able to create shorts with your own likeness. So this technology is being opened up to anyone and everyone.
I mean, that's really significant. Like, because obviously Instagram will follow, obviously TikTok will follow, obviously. And we saw it with Sora. So OpenAI's video platform, we saw this, where you open up Sora, I did it, I created a model of myself, and then I could use my own likeness to generate videos, and it was pretty weird. But I could also press a button saying anyone can use my likeness. That is why you saw AI Jake Paul everywhere. And technically out, like, open sourcing your digital twin to the public.
Okay, if you're listening or watching and you are skeptical, we have a couple more examples here that I think may push you over the edge.
Okay, so most of the examples we've shown you are short form content, and it feels more realistic to go, okay, all right, short form, that's fine. Like, that'll probably happen. But I found a new long form channel on YouTube that feels very alarming.
This morning at 6:47 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 IRS Criminal Investigation Division agents arrived at the offices of Mazars USA in Midtown Manhattan. They carried federal grand jury subpoenas demanding 15 years of Donald Trump's tax preparation documents.
And this for me feels clearly based off the Cuban creator Legal Eagle.
Now, all this highlights why it's so important to get a great lawyer when you're dealing with your own case.
The AI lawyer here, who's making similar content, talking about cases, is generating real views.
Hundreds of thousands of views.
Hundreds of thousands of views.
Very comparable to Legal Eagle.
Because you take a step back, and once you get into it, if you're interested in the subject matter, you just accept it. You just accept his delivery. And the fact that people are watching that is a threat and a problem for a channel like Legal Eagle. And you look at again, the culture that we mentioned earlier of the internet, which is find what works and replicate it. That was more friction heavy with a human, of like, I gotta copy this person's thing. Maybe I have some guilt associated with copying this thing. Maybe it's just hard logistically to try and copy it. With AI, it's like, I don't know, whoever's copying this, I assume has very little friction to try and figure this out, right? Just like, okay, yeah, cool, Legal Eagle works. Okay, let me replicate it.
It's all just adding to this abundance. We've covered Twitch, we've covered short form, we've covered podcast, long form. Now let's look at Hollywood.
Yeah, because YouTube's one thing. But Hollywood, is hot.
Is hot.
Yeah. But these two examples are crazy.
Here we go. Okay. This first one is a trailer for a mockumentary about fake moon landing.
Yeah.
And everyone believed us. People just always want to believe that something is real.
We've all seen the pictures, but is there any actual proof that you were on the moon?
Well, we had cameras there.
This one is insane. I would recommend watching that in full. That one is insane. As a fan of documentaries, as guys who made documentaries,
The music is great, the vintage footage is great, and it's done by a German creator named Simon Mayer. He's using Kling. I really don't know what Kling is, but
I know.
You know Kling? I don't know Kling.
I'm chronically.
Why'd you raise your eyebrows? Like, I know Kling.
I don't know, man. I just know things.
So that one hooked me just from a story perspective.
That one is good. I mean, when I watched that, what I recognized was, depending on how fast that was made, like right now, obviously the cultural and political zeitgeist is all about Jeffrey Epstein, right? And the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people searching, how did this guy get rich? What's his backstory? All this. If somebody made a documentary like that about the backstory of all this, people would watch it because
even with a disclaimer that said like these visuals are AI generated, they are interpretations.
For sure. Now the crazy thing is, this already happened with the Epstein files, but it's like this true crime audio podcast.
You are listening to the Epstein Files, the world's first AI native investigation into the case that traditional journalism simply could not handle.
And people are listening. It did 100,000 downloads in the first week. Let's think about the Olympics. The Olympics are about to happen in 2028 in LA. The Winter Olympics are this year. Let's say that there's a big story of an Olympian. That American won something, or that French guy won, this crazy pole vault thing, like whatever goes viral on the internet. But let's say there's some big Olympic moment that happens and somebody goes viral. Imagine having a documentary on that person's backstory that week.
Yeah, I truly believe that that's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, now the last AI generated video before we break down what this all means.
My lords and gentlemen, the rebellious war, begun in the province of Massachusetts Bay, is become more general and is manifestly carried on for the purpose of establishing an independent empire.
Yeah, so Darren Aronofsky, legendary filmmaker.
His production company partnered with Google DeepMind to make this series for Time Magazine's YouTube channel. All of the images and video are generated with AI. The voices are human. It was edited by humans. There was a lot of pushback to this. I think because they're pissed, of course, that someone from within Hollywood is doing something that cuts a lot of humans out of the equation.
Let alone outside Hollywood. If you scroll Twitter right now and just look at some of the outputs from C-Dance, which is ByteDance's new model, you're going to see like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and major actors' likenesses used.
He was a good man. He knew too much about our Russian operations. He had to die, and now you die too.
The industry of Hollywood is full of all types of labor, like building sets, costume designers, gaffers, sound engineers, actors, extras.
Essentially the epitome of replacement, of like a replacement via AI in abundance.
Yeah, and I think because of that, it is very natural, of course. I mean, I'm like this too, for us to go like this. This is so threatening to everything we love about creativity and filmmaking. I just want everyone who's watching this to apply a consumer perspective to this. And imagine, like, I have a 1-year-old son, you have a 7-month-old son. They will not know a different world.
No. And by the time they're watching what's on their screens, there will be no novelty to whether it's made with AI or not. There will be no disclaimers, in my opinion. I don't think there will be. I've said this before, but I make graphics in After Effects. It doesn't look like real life. I don't tell people it's not real or that I used After Effects.
Right.
It's just a tool that I use.
Yeah. Now, we are saying this from the perspective of being two guys who sit in chairs and talk for a living and like make YouTube videos for a living. And our ability to earn a living and continue building our brand and this channel and this relationship with you guys has all been predicated on the fact that we are having a real connection with you guys, right? With all of you who are listening and watching. And so I just want to put that out there. It's like, this is a threat to us. And we are definitely like concerned about this. Like this is concerning, but I also want to be a realist here.
Well, I think naturally you and I have been searching for answers to this.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot.
And with all the creators that we've been interviewing lately, we've been asking questions with a curious mind to, okay, what are we going to do about all this abundance?
Yeah.
How are we going to survive? Because I really like this career.
Yeah, this is super fun. And also like filmmaking, creativity, and storytelling, and having a connection with an audience, that's really fun.
It's fulfilling, it's gratifying. Yeah. I want everyone else to be able to do it. So how do we survive this?
Our whole channel is about helping other people do this thing too. So, yeah.
Okay, before we move on and talk about how you can defend yourself against all of this abundance, let's first recap what we've talked about. Number one, abundance is here, and it was here even before the rise of AI video, but it's about to get way worse with AI video. Next, we're seeing the end of authenticity as a defense mechanism for human-made content.
At least the perception of authenticity.
The perception of authenticity.
Yeah, at least the perception of authenticity, because I think the term is changing, and we'll talk about that.
AI is moving towards being able to mimic human authenticity.
Yes.
And then abundance is coming to every screen. It's coming to Twitch, to Instagram, TikTok, short form, long form podcasts. It's coming to long form YouTube, and it's coming to Hollywood.
Can I play a song?
Please, yeah.
Do you want me to say it, or you want to say it?
It's AI.
That's AI.
Oh, man.
This is an artist named Kayla Cross. That song has 9.4 million streams on Spotify. She is a rising artist, and she is not real.
I was really hoping it was Olivia Dean, and you just wanted to give us a little bit of a break from all this AI.
AI is coming for your ears as well, but I assume somebody went, Olivia Dean's hot. Let me make a similar artist. That can show up on the Spotify playlist next to her.
All right, everybody. We maybe have taken you down a little bit here with all of these case studies and examples, but let's bring you back up.
Okay, in this era of abundance, there are two very clear paths for creators. One is scale, and the other is scarcity. So when we talk about scale, this has been happening pre-AI as well through the rise of clipping. So clipping has become such a major part of the creator economy. I mean, creators like iShowSpeed have really become famous through clipping. And I think what people recognized, we talked about Kaveh Lame earlier, that's like one of the most familiar faces on the internet, Charlie D'Amelio at one point, Mr. Beast, that has all been exponential because of clipping. So companies like WAP, Mr. Beast just launched a company called Viro, where basically there's armies of people who are in Discord servers or available to edit, who get access to your content, who take your video, clip it. The editors get paid based on how many views they generate on your clip. This is the way to manufacture scale and manufacture fame, basically, for a lot of creators.
The scale model is be as present as possible.
Yeah.
Be everywhere.
Again, I've never watched a Kai Cenat live stream. I've never watched an iShowSpeed live stream, but I see the clips everywhere. To me, they are the most culturally relevant and popular, but it's because their clips are everywhere.
I think this path will be increasingly more difficult to realize as a creator, to make happen. I think it's in direct competition with the abundance era.
I agree with you. I sat down with a creator in Dubai named Kwebbelkop, who you guys may know, and he is doing this model with AI. So he basically has a Discord server where he has opened up his likeness. There's a bunch of editors. They edit videos with his likeness or prompt videos with his likeness. He posts them across every platform. Whatever money they make on the platforms, the editors get. There was somebody from his Discord who made this video of him at the Willy Wonka chocolate factory drinking chocolate out of the chocolate river. It made $1,000 on Facebook.
Took him about 10 minutes to make.
Yeah, and that guy who prompted that made $1,000 based on that. So he scaled his presence by incentivizing people to use his likeness to produce AI content across every platform.
I think the problem with the scale model for creators is that the more content that's out there, the way these algorithms work is they're just trying to serve you pretty much the best video for you in that moment, not necessarily the best video from a creator you've liked in the past.
Yes.
And so I think we're moving towards a place where loyalty is harder to come by. You had a conversation with your cousin,
yes,
who is Gen Z.
Yeah, she's at Michigan. What's up, Sophie?
And when
Hopefully
you're
you're
old,
listening.
you ask like anyone who's Gen Z anything, you just trust them like blindly. You just believe what they say.
So my cousin, she goes to Michigan. She's, I think, a junior at Michigan, and I started to get really curious. Some of my curiosity about the abundance era was, who are people loyal to? Like, what creators are people watching on a regular basis? I have my list of creators, but they're mostly comedy podcasts, and I found that to be kind of common amongst people I asked. And I'd be curious to ask everyone who's listening and watching right now, like, what do you not miss on a weekly basis? Who is that creator? What is that podcast? What is that thing? I've been asking that question everyone. But when I ask it to people in the Gen Z category, people who are in college right now, the answer is often like, I don't watch creators. I just watch Instagram. And that was her answer. We were talking about screen time. She said, my screen time is as bad as yours, unfortunately. I don't really follow creators. I think I just watch dumb reels. Long story short, she felt like creators were potentially too commercial, and that if she watches creators, she's being advertised to too much. So she'd prefer to watch content from anonymous accounts or from just generally Instagram.
Which I think is also due to abundance. That she feels like not only is there just an abundance of content, so she's not loyal to a creator, there's an abundance of advertising. That, like, the creator economy has come so far, so many people are actually making a living, that it has made her experience worth watching. But you also heard this from a student at Harvard.
Yes, I did a Zoom with a student at Harvard who told me amongst his friends, which are college athletes, they don't watch any creators. He's like, oh yeah, I grew up watching Logan Paul and Mr. Beast. None of us watch that anymore. We just watch TikTok edits. So like TikTok sports edits.
Yeah.
And I went further and I asked him the same question. He said basically the same thing. He was like, yeah, it's kind of lame to be so attached to a creator.
Oh,
and I think the honest reality as a creator, when you think about scale and what's happening on these platforms, is the scale is in videos. These are video platforms. They're going to find the best video for that moment. We used to be the ones when supply was low who could create a video that was so much better than all the other videos on the platform. That's just not really the case anymore. Like when you, a professional creator, makes a video, all the other videos on the platform are also pretty good. Mm-hmm. So you're like, everything is good.
So I think scale will work for a select number of creators, the same way that like there's a few actors that get to work in Hollywood. I believe the majority of creators are going to go the scarcity route.
So this is the approach that what you make is for a specific group of people. It's probably for a smaller group of people. You don't have to be available all the time. You make one thing with intention and craft. It's kind of the 1,000 True Fans model, but probably expanded a little bit more and more real.
Yeah, you do unscalable things to keep a consistent connection with an audience.
Yeah.
To maintain loyalty. I would say as an example, we through our event, Press Publish New York City, we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on that venue, and we had 3 surprise speakers. It was a whole day event, and only 500 people were there.
Yeah, right.
That's very different than making a ton of videos for millions and millions of people.
Yes.
But that route, I believe, giving experience to fewer people that they will remember, I think is how the majority of creators in the abundance era will actually build real communities, sustainable businesses. I believe like that's the path forward.
Yeah, I think as a creator, you have to think about what is your live event and would people show up? And if the answer is no, then something's off right now. Then you're super replaceable. Because if all you offer to the platform is views, then there's an abundance of accounts that can also offer views. And so you absolutely have to offer connection.
Yeah, the future of the creator economy is not more content and more views.
No.
It is defending why people even choose you in the first place.
Exactly. There's two sides of the spectrum that we should talk about that exist in business that we've been talking about quite a bit. The scale model is McDonald's. There's this image that we pulled that says 60 billion served. They are proud of their scale. They are something for everyone. They exist in every country. They are available all the time. That is Mr. Beast, right? That's iShowSpeed, Mr. Beast.
Dubbed in every language,
Yes.
highly visual, so you can enjoy it no matter where you are.
There's something for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah. And on the other side of the spectrum, there's this ad from Rolex, and it's from 1967. And Rolex is the ultimate like luxury brand. It's meant for a specific group of people. And the ad says, if you were negotiating here tomorrow, you'd wear a Rolex. And it shows the Geneva Convention. That is so niche. It's
incredibly niche.
It's so niche, but it tells you exactly who you are. Let me tell you your identity if you're a part of this group. And that, I think, is the scarcity play for creators, right? It's not necessarily that you have to make stuff for luxury.
It's not always wealth. I mean,
it's not wealth. It's just
Lacrosse Network. Our first business was highly targeted at a small group of people.
Yeah.
Colin and Samir even, it's targeted at a small group of people who are into creators and media.
One of the most impressive brands in the creator space right now, I think, is TPBN, which is a daily live Twitter show about technology and business that is for a very small group of people. But that's why it's so impressive and so big, is because it's scarce, it's rare, it is special. So I think all of us as creators right now, I think we can and should all take a deep breath out and not be so concerned with the top line view number on what we're making. Because once you settle into the concept that like views are just everywhere now and they're available, and that's not what makes you unique, I think you can start to understand like we're entering a new era. The abundance era means you can build for a tighter knit community. And that's actually better. I think it's way better. And unless you have the brain for that insane scale that people like Jimmy and Speed have, we are meant to operate in smaller tribes and like with more clarity on who we are talking to.
Again, I think even Jimmy and Speed, these scale mass creators, I believe their job's going to keep getting harder and harder and harder.
Yeah, Jimmy said that himself.
Because of the abundance era.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be so much content that is capable of filling that void for people. It's going to be really difficult. They're going to go to amazing lengths to maintain the brands that they have.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about for society at large. What does this mean? There's a video that you shared with me from Nathan Zed on YouTube where he talks about how nothing feels like a moment anymore. And obviously that's where we started the episode. And I think that's true. I think fewer things will matter. But at the same time, fewer things will matter more than they've ever mattered, right? Like across the board, it'll feel like not much matters. But certain things will increase. Like, for example, I believe billboards will matter more because they are capped.
You think so?
I think so. I think real estate on the internet is infinite. Real estate in real life is capped, and I think it will get more valuable. Digital viewership is infinite. So I think it will potentially decline in value, or it'll get diluted a little bit. But I think IRL viewership will increase in value because it's capped. So concerts, sporting events,
stand-up comedy,
even the Super Bowl, which just happened. Ads for the Super Bowl are still incredibly expensive, incredibly valuable because there is only one Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Nathan Zed's video was fantastic about this. Like he brought up the concept that like when Stranger Things, the final season came out, like it just kind of like came. It was kind of a big deal, and a lot of people watched it, but then it was just it's over.
Yeah.
There'll be fewer monoculture moments, but those moments will matter a lot. But I think one thing about society that I can't get out of my head that's really concerning to me is a conversation we had with Thomas Ragg of Yes Theory about the absurdity of our feeds. And I think that's a really important one. Like something that I've noticed is that most monoculture now is politics, news, and like war. It's all stuff that is now newly accessible in our feed at like a pretty high velocity.
Yeah.
And what we can watch, what video we can watch, is very absurd now. And that's a mix of AI video, stuff that's happening in the world. And so when I look at the impacts of society from the abundance era, it's the increase in absurdity.
And what Thomas was saying was that the more absurd the world gets, he believes the more absurd our feeds get, our tolerance for what we watch gets.
We're getting desensitized to watching absurd things, and I think AI-generated video will desensitize us at a crazy scale. And so then that also increases our tolerance for the absurdity of our own actions and the absurdity of the world in general. Yeah. And so that I think is a major concern about the increase in AI content and the increase of just content in general that we're consuming. Yeah. Like when you open up your phone, it's almost like the feed is attacking you, and it's like this hostile environment.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the biggest responsibility that platforms have, is to, this is a very difficult, nuanced, and subjective thing, but is to take a stance on how much absurdity, like absurd, how do you even say what's absurd and what's not? But I think it is like, there are things obviously like a degree of violence, racism, all these things that do spread societies apart, that like AI does have the opportunity, you're right, to also increase that in abundance. And I think it's really important that there's a plan for that.
Everything is cyclical, and there likely will be a movement of being offline. Like that is a movement. It probably won't be so big because like it's everybody's phone in their pocket, that people are going to be online. But I think there will be more pride taken in being offline. And again, I think that's
similar to I watch human content.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, and I think for us as creators, like at least, when I think about this, it's like, what do I want to add to these feeds? That's something that I've really been pushing myself to think about is like, what do I honestly want to add here?
Yeah.
Because any strategic idea I have is going to get made. Any like business-centric idea of like, oh, that'd be a good video. It's like, that's going to get made by someone or something.
Yeah.
So what do I honestly have to say and honestly have to add? And a lot of that is why we're focusing more on live events, getting out in public with people. Like, and it's an overwhelming time. I just want to acknowledge that. Like, it's an overwhelming time. It's important to take a step back and look at everything that's happening. But like, my biggest piece of advice is if you're a creative individual right now, really tap into what you honestly have to add to this conversation. Not the AI conversation, but the conversation in our feeds. What do you have to add to these environments? What is the thing that you want to share that's going to connect with people on a real level?
And one of my favorite tests for that I'll leave you all with is, when we sat down with Mark Rober a couple years ago, he said that if he has an idea for a video he wants to make, he just starts telling people at parties and get-togethers and surfacing it. And if their reaction is, oh, that's interesting and new, that's different, he knows he's got something. And I think we're starting to do the same thing. A lot of what we talked about in this episode today are things that we've been floating around to people for the last month.
Yeah.
And getting a reaction from, sort of testing, going, okay, I think we have something we really want to say here.
Yes. Okay, that's a lot of thoughts about AI videos, the abundance era, the future of humans and society. It's heavy. It's a lot of thoughts. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Obviously, this is a topic that we'll probably cover again because it is just abundant. It's all over our feeds. It's everywhere. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next week.
If you're crafting your own personal career and you're high agency, AI is like a jetpack. We've taught children, young adults how to grind. We've taught them to persevere for the sake of perseverance. And if you're stuck, you're stuck.
In order to do these exercises of finding your passion, you sort of have to be a ruthless asshole.
Unless you're trying to find that edge, somebody else may be.
You have to understand the difference between risk and uncertainty.
People most at threat by AI are the ones that aren't continuously learning. That are just doing the same thing they did 10 years ago.
How many times when you were doing it did you want to quit?
I don't ever remember wanting to quit.
Really?
Really.
What did the voice say when it was like, I found my calling? I want to talk about the book because there's a bunch of crazy stats in the book. I want to talk about the Nobel laureate thing. That was interesting. But one of the craziest things early in the book, I think, did you run this survey? And it said that like 6 or 7 out of 10 people hate their job.
Yeah, so I had a co-writer, co-researcher on the book, and we spent a ton of time together on Zoom calls. And someone encouraged us to dive into a bunch of academic literature. We came across this Gallup poll that said 53% of people aren't engaged at work. And so we had this idea to ask like 1,000 people if you could start your career over again, would you do it differently? And 7 out of 10 said yes. And then we took that to Wharton People Analytics to do the official academic version, so you make sure you get all the statistical data correct. And their number came back 6 out of 10, so still a really big number. And
Crazy.
There's a great book by Daniel Pink called The Power of Regrets, and he has a somewhat similar survey data of longitudinal through people's lives. And as you get older, your regrets of inaction start to really weigh on you and ruminate in your brain. And a regret of inaction is choosing actively not doing something, versus a regret of action is I made a mistake. And humans are really good at allowing themselves to make a mistake, but the path I never traveled, the door I never opened, is heavier in their mind. And the survey might have been getting at that, like people thinking, wow, what if I had done something differently?
Well, the reason I was asking is like I kind of want this whole, like I'm kind of obsessed with this idea of finding your passion, not just because of your book, but like one of my favorite books is Mastery by Robert Greene,
Yes, I'm familiar
which
with it.
changed my life. That changed my life. But the reason I'm interested in it is because like I previously had a company that I sold and it was like very successful in all the traditional measurements. I have a company now that's quite successful and I like what I do. But in the back of my mind, I think that it's normal, and maybe you could tell me if I'm wrong, that like even grown-ups like who are successful still are like, am I following like the right path? Like am I going to be in that 6 out of 10 or the 4 out of 10? Do you find that like even when you left Compaq and then eventually got into VC, which I imagine that would be your calling, that you still questioned it?
After the engineering degree, I went to Wall Street for 3 years. So
you were like in research?
I was in a sell-side research analyst. Yeah, so I had 2 stops before I made it to venture. And
wow.
In both cases, I had a moment of reflection, and it's more clear to me now than it was then, but where I asked, do I see myself doing this 30 years from now? And in many businesses, there's a lifer in the room, that's done it their whole life. And that sounds a little judgmental. I don't mean it to be, but it gives you a way to reflect on whether that's the place you want to be in.
Yeah.
Because they did it. And in both cases, after about 2 or 3 years, I got to a no, even though I was doing well in those jobs. But thinking, do I want to still be doing this 30 years from now was clarifying for me.
But you said something interesting. So, like, all right, I thought the book was amazing. The best chapter, the best part was the early part about finding your passion. And you're like, that's the hardest part. And like, you said that just now, you're like, it didn't seem clear to me then, but it does seem clear to me now that I was questioning that.
Well, I did do that exercise in my brain. And there's another exercise that Bezos is famous for, what he calls the regret minimization framework, where he said, what would my 80-year-old self advise me to do in this situation? Which is another way to get at what I was doing and to get at this notion of, you only have one life. Like, are you really thinking about this decision with a reflection of the whole life? And so your 80-year-old self is probably more risk-seeking than you are in that moment, because he's trying to minimize that regret.
What was the exercise you did then? How old were you?
The thing I did is what I already said. I asked myself, do I still want to be doing this 30 years from now? And I did it once when I was an engineer, so I was 23, 24.
But was that voice loud?
I think it was loud. I had no inhibitions whatsoever about walking away. Like, it didn't bother me. And I may have benefited in the back of my brain from the fact that my father went across the country. He took a flyer on the job. He got recruited from Virginia to Houston to be one of the first employees at NASA.
That's cool.
And I knew he had done that. And so I didn't come from, I think if you come from a family where multiple generations have stayed in the same town, it may feel really wild to just take flyers.
All right, so this episode is all about excellence. A while back, I shared my personal framework for building excellence in my own life, and the team at HubSpot turned it into a 30-day operating system you can check out right now. It breaks down the systems it took me 10 years to figure out and shows how I actually use them day to day. These are systems that genuinely changed my life. So if you want to build a good life, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Now, let's get back to the show.
When I was 21 years old, I'm from Missouri. I went to school in Nashville, Tennessee. I had a hot dog stand, and that's how I paid my way through college. It was called Southern Sam's, wieners as big as a baby's arm. And we had a bunch of locations of these hot dog stands. It was really fun. And I was like, this is so hard to be out in Tennessee weather selling hot dogs. It was so hard. And so I Googled, like, where do internet companies live? Because I didn't even know, because I was obsessed with the internet. And it said San Francisco. And I was like, what internet companies are cool? Or like, I don't know, what's like the hot thing? Well, at the time, it was Uber. At the time, it was called Uber Cab still, and Air Bed and Breakfast.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at this thing called Air Bed and Breakfast. And I cold emailed this guy named Brian, the CEO. And he didn't reply to me, but then I found like another employee to email named Justin, and I emailed him, and I was like, I'm gonna be there on Monday, can I interview for this company? Obviously, Air Bed and Breakfast was called Airbnb. And they're like, yeah, you live in the Bay Area? And I was like, yeah, I live there, which of course I didn't. I was in college in Tennessee. And so I flew out there the next day, got the interview, got the job, went back to Tennessee, dropped out of college, sold everything I had. But my parents are entrepreneurs. In Missouri, they started their entrepreneurial career owning a fruit stand.
Yep.
And I remember when I told them, I was like, I'm gonna leave school, I'm gonna join this thing. And they're like, what's a startup? And does it have health insurance? I was like, it has health insurance, it's paying like $22 an hour. I think it's gonna be fine. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll come pack up your stuff. And I remember at that moment, like, that emotional support is one of the biggest things that separates what allows people to win versus allow people to lose. Because I've met so many people, a lot of my friends are immigrants. And like the immigrant experience is interesting because a lot of the immigrants, it seems like they fall in two categories. One category is like they came here for nothing, so they're willing to do anything to win, and they go down one path. And then the other path is I came here to create a big life, don't screw this up, take the safe path.
Right.
And my parents were not the safe path, and that was like the most support that they could have for me, and it was so amazing.
I'm so glad you told that story because even though the person this book is written towards is the person on the career path, and I mean that we don't have a chapter on how to advise people, like it's not written for the advisor, but I think it will be particularly interesting to parents and advisors to test whether or not they're willing to help support people in a way that your parents did.
Well, I think that's a big deal because, like, for example, you go to the doctor to get like your basic stuff checked. I go to school to get good grades, but at no point do they ask, like, are you happy doing this? And I think that's why I'm still upset. I don't think we've ever formally learned how do you find, I call it ikigai, which I'm very, very familiar with. It's this Japanese term where imagine like a Venn diagram, but there's four. It's what the world wants, what the world wants to pay for, what you're good at, and what you're passionate about. The goal is to find something right in the middle. But no one teaches that, right? And so it's interesting. The reason I like your book is because that's what it's about.
In the chapter titled Chase Your Curiosity, I tried to borrow as many of those type of exercises as possible. I even went out, I'm surprised I didn't find that one, but I found like 10 others, and I put them all in there. Like I'm trying to give people as many of those pathways as possible, because I think the very hardest part is to figure out actually what it is that drives you in this way that's going to make it very easy for you to differentiate yourself. And it's funny, you mentioned that one. There's a story in the book about this guy, Burt Beveridge, in Austin, Texas, who's 40 years old, and he's watching a PBS show, and they say to take a sheet of paper, put it horizontal, draw a line down the middle, write on the left what you love to do, and on the right what you're good at, and try and find something in the middle. And through that exercise, he quit being a mortgage broker. He had been a seismologist before that, and launched a vodka company called Tito's at the age of 40.
I think there's this like famous Mozart quote where someone was like asking Mozart, like, how do I find my way, or how do I do I have what it takes to be the man? And Mozart was like, dude, if you're asking the question, the answer is no, because the conquerors just conquer. And I hated his reply to that because, but I'm curious. So I don't even know all of the companies you've invested in because you've been doing it for so long. You've like, I don't know how many unicorns have you invested in?
I don't know.
Dozens?
Sure.
A lot.
Yeah.
And you've been around all the movers and shakers. Whether you invested in or you passed or not, you were somehow like touched all these amazing people. Did they follow a similar path?
For the founders, I think you'd find a lot of different stories and different pathways that got them to where they are. I mean, like the Zuckerberg story is pretty famous. He's at Harvard messing around. And that's very different from the path that Gates took, or even Bezos. So I don't know that there is a pathway to that place. I'll tell you, I once asked Jeff Bezos how he could possibly be good at angel investing while he's running this company.
What did he do angel-wise?
Oh, he did Google, Uber. Like, it's a murderer's road.
He was in the seed round of Google?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. What was the valuation then?
I think that first round was a 10 poster. But to get to the point, he said the only thing he looks for is this insane determinism. He wanted to believe the person was going to go do this no matter what, come hell or high water. And I think that may be a common trait of a lot of the founders. They're just really, really determined in pushing against this thing. The other thing that's true of any tech founder is they're hyper curious about the edge of what the technology can do. And anytime there's a big disruption, AI being the most recent, but before that, there was social media and the mobile wave and the SaaS wave and all these waves, and they create opportunity because incumbents are usually slow to embrace them, and so you can run at these things fast. But that requires you to be hyper curious about where the world's going and what's changing so that you can master it before anyone else does.
There's this cool book called Grit. We talked about it a ton here on this podcast, and you cite it a bunch.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I forget the exact equation, but basically, like, Angela Duckworth, she's like...
I actually started the original book with 50% passion and 50% perseverance. And one thing we highlight, we actually had a chance to talk to her, which I'm super grateful for. But we found this podcast she had done 10 years later where she said it probably shouldn't have been 50-50, that it needed to put more weight on passion. And her fear is that we've taught children, young adults, how to grind. So that we've taught them to persevere for the sake of perseverance. And she believes that now she believes that leads to burnout. And so if you have like all this effort without the love for it, it feels more like work. And one of the things, the second principle here after you chase your curiosity is to hone your craft. And that's a lifelong journey, always learning. And for people that are in the right space, that comes free. Like you just do it naturally. You wake up and want to do it. Like you're drawn to knowing more about the craft. And I think that correlates nicely with where she came out, which is it's hard to do all the things I recommend in this book if you don't truly love it.
I didn't realize it, but passion, I think passion is kind of a bad word, because like passion kind of implies that I'm going to like everything I do. And if you like talk to like a lot of athletes, they're like, well, I love competing. I do like practicing, but there's definitely days that I hate doing it, but I'm a pro and I'm going to do it no matter what. And like, I love winning.
We highlight in the book that word's kind of cliche and overused. Seinfeld gave a talk at Duke where he said fascination was a better word. I think obsession's a good word. We titled the chapter "Chase Your Curiosity." Like, what is it that you can't ignore? Like, what is this thing that you love so much that you always want to know more about it? You know?
What was your? You did a good job of like listening to all these exercises to like find it. What was the most productive one that you found?
Well, I mentioned the one that Tito had used. The team that wrote Designing Your Life has one that they say is most popular, which is battle carding. So, like, come up with 3 to 5 potential career paths, not just one, and let your brain roll around in them for a while. So you could do that, especially with AI today. You could imagine, I'm going to do this. What does it look like 2 years from now? Like, what might I like? What might I not like? And then you could say, well, if it were this or this. So that's an exercise. I think having the mental relaxation to not feel like some path you've been down is sunk cost. Like, I'm going to go try this, and if it works, great. If not, I'll do something else. Just as your parents said it's okay to quit college and go work there, it's okay to quit the job you're in as well. And I just fear we put so much weight on economic stability. You mentioned some of those immigrant families and what they push. There's this burden to do that above and beyond what might be fulfilling in your life. And I think it'd be better if we got out of that. And then, or at least this way, think of it as a gauge. We've gone pretty damn far to one side. Let's bring it back a little bit.
Have you messed up with have you had to pull yourself back with your kids?
Yeah. I think there's they're all in their early 20s, so they're all trying to find it. Like, I don't know if they're all even there yet, but there is this intuition as a parent, and I think it's well intentioned to worry, to feel like they're on a safe path. And safe is usually economic, but it's also it's just risk feels like your risk. I love the story of what your parents did, and I've got a few anecdotes I found since we finished the book that are great. That are very similar to what your parents did, but I think it's the exception. I don't think it's the rule. I think a lot of parents would have tried to convince you to finish out and get your degree. I think that's built into most parents, and so there are other people other than myself that have highlighted that I call it like this industrial college matriculation path has gotten very rigid and it's competitive and it's grindy.
Like getting into college now is significantly harder.
Yeah, they've not expanded the enrollment at these schools, but the number of people that want to go to college has gone way up.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And starting around 6th grade, once again, well-intentioned parents start building the resume to get into college. And so we overschedule children today compared to when I was young.
For sure.
And so they're scheduled from when they wake up to when they go to bed. There's actually a chapter in Jonathan Haidt's book, Coddling of the American Mind, called The Decline of Play, where it's harder, I think, for a child to explore and try on different ideas because they're caught up in this game to try and get into college.
You had this crazy stat. You said, I think it was the people who won a Nobel Prize in science, the scientists who won Nobel Prizes, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were 22 times more likely to participate in things like acting or dance class and things like that. What was that stat?
So this was work that Keith Holyoke had done at UCLA, and it relates to a lot of the concepts in the back of Range, the book by David Epstein, but it was the people at the top of their field are like much more likely to have a breadth of hobbies, speak more languages, do more things, and almost, I think, have a lens on the world that's broader because they were able to try so many different things.
So I read this book, Mastery, and like the premise is like being a generalist is kind of nonsense. You have to specialize in something, but once you specialize, then you become a generalist.
I think that's the right pathway. Like I do think you want to get started in an area where you can differentiate yourself, and in both the principal chapter on mentors and peers in here, and even in the learning principle, I recommend, as a more advanced level, once you get, up to this level, then go broader, like start to learn outside your field, find